break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Opinions of the Uninformed podcast. I hope you all had a good week. Obviously, me and TJ have had a middling to fair week because that's what we do. Right, so welcome in. TJ, what have you been up to this week, mate?
Not much, to be honest. It's been just a bit of a steady Eddie week. I tell a lie. I did stream the PTB that we spoke about last week for Alien on Dead by Daylight, and that was absolutely immense.
You killed me.
I did.
Turned against me like a bastard and killed me.
I did. It was very, very good. It's as PTBs go, the player test builds. It's probably the most polished PTB I've played. It looks like, it feels like it's ready for release now, even though it's not out till the end of the month.
Bit disappointed with the map, if I'm honest.
I'm not. Two things. One, I am and I'm not. It's a 50-50 indoor-outdoor map. I was hoping it'd be just a solid indoor map of the Nostromo, because a little bit selfishly, I want to play Scratch Mirror Myers on it. But ultimately, I feel size-wise, it's very, very good. It's not too large. It's actually, I think, the smallest map, or
it's
one of the
small.
smallest maps, which is a good thing from a killer point of view. Visually, very, very good. There's not too much.
I love the jump scares. Yeah. They had a lot of decent jump scares, and I quite like that.
Their previous map for the Singularity release was Toba, which is like an alien world, and it's far too overstimulating, colours and everything going on. It's mental. Whereas this is very much more like, I really enjoyed this map. Like I say, it's easy to traverse. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Because it's such a small confined, it's going to be easy to patrol gens and stuff as a killer. It's going to make for some really fun gameplay, I think. So yeah, that was really good. But other than that, this week, yeah, I've just been streaming and chilling with the family. Went to fireworks tonight here because I live in a seaside town. It was carnival night for us tonight, and then didn't go to that, but went to the fireworks I had at the pier. So, and that was good. My daughter loves fireworks, so.
Who doesn't like fireworks? Apart from dogs, obviously.
Yeah.
Won't get into that. I played the PTB with TJ, so I made my sort of semi-return to streaming with TJ because I like to support him. He's my brother in arms, as you might say. He killed me. I won't lie. He left me for bait and killed me. You can find that on YouTube if you want to see me calling him a
TikTok.
Because is it on TikTok?
It's on TikTok.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I thought it was on YouTube.
I don't always post my shorts on YouTube. No, I'm a bit lazy. I post them all on TikTok, but I sometimes forget to do YouTube.
But if you want to see my reaction to TJ completely betraying me as a friend, then you can see it there. I've been watching all of the Mission Impossible films. I tell you what I will say about the Mission Impossible, and I love them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking slam about them. 2 probably being the weakest for me.
Kind of like 2. I didn't mind 2.
It's not a bad film. I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's just out of the, what are we on, 7?
Dead Reckoning is 2 parts.
So you got 1, 2, 3. Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue Nation.
What's the one after Rogue Nation? It's
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol. Then you've got the one where he cocks his arms.
With Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
I can't think.
I can't remember what that's called. What's it called? Anyway, I don't want to waste too much time. But anyway, Henry Cavill cocks his arms, which is crazy. But like.
Fallout.
That's right. Fallout.
So it went 1, 2, 3, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, and then
Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning 1 and 2.
Yeah. So I watched Dead Reckoning. I've seen Dead Reckoning. We'll say I feel it's weaker than the other 2, only because the other 7 seem to have, you straight up antagonist.
Yeah.
where like it was someone that Ethan's going to hunt down, he's going to win against, because they're Bond films basically.
I was about
take
to
it
say,
apart. They're a Bond.
I
film.
felt like the first one was very much a spy espionage, like twists and turns, like very like the whole what's his name? Voight, John Voight, isn't it? It's John Voight is his leader, and there's like the double cross and everything, and you got the French guy, Jean Reno. No, what's
no, Jean Reno comes into it later.
Is he?
He's later.
He's in the first one, isn't he? I thought he's in the first one.
I don't know. Cause I'll be honest. I was watching number 3.
No, he is in the first one.
And John Reno came in that, and I was like, wasn't he dead?
He's in the first one. But from the second one I felt is very much like GoldenEye-ish in the fact that you've got the other impossible agent that's like turned on his own government. I know the Chimera virus and everything obviously is different than what happens in GoldenEye, but it's very much along like those kind of, and I just feel it went away from 2 onwards. It become more like an action.
3, honestly, I watched 3 last night.
That's with Philip Seymour Hoffman, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and very, very good film.
He's
very,
awesome,
very good.
awesome.
Right, but 3 was the last one where you felt like it was a spy thriller, because 3 still gives you the is he, isn't he sort of conversation. We're a spy community, so therefore there's turns and stuff. Whereas 4, 5, 6, 7, it's very much like we're waiting for the set piece. Do you know what I mean?
It's very much about the stunts, isn't it, as well?
Yeah,
like 4, he hangs off the side of a plane. Yeah. I remember one of them, he's got to do the fucking swimming, where he's got to hold his breath for like fucking 6 minutes or something.
He almost died during that.
Yeah, I know, because obviously, and the Fallout one is where he broke his ankle as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he broke his ankle
jumping across the rooftops,
didn't he?
Yeah, and you can what I love is if you watch it, like you can actually see they kept the footage in, didn't it? He jumps, his foot hits the ledge, slips, but he pulls himself up, and you see the run, like the crick in his step as he carries on running, and they left that in there, which I think is fucking wicked. I love little bits like that. They're so cool.
That's why I love Jackie Chan, man. Jackie Chan's had so many of those moments where he just injured himself so
I can't
bad.
think which one it is, but there's one where he jumps from like like a bridge. You've got the like legs, the support legs of a bridge, and it's got like a base around it. He jumps off of one of those onto like a hovercraft or something, and he breaks his ankle. And like the greatest thing about Jackie Chan films is the credits. They show all the stunts.
They show all the stunts.
Well, they show him break his ankle, and then he gets a special sock made that looks like his trainer, and he pulls it back on, and he carries on doing this thing with a sock that looks like his trainer. And it's like, this is fucking awesome. Like, only Jackie Chan.
Because I love Jackie Chan.
I'll always remember
he's a man who's like 80-something still doing
Well, he's
stunts.
got a film with John Cena, hasn't he?
I watched it.
On Netflix. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I haven't seen it
Hidden Strike. It's on Netflix.
Netflix,
if those who want to watch it. And like, I'll be honest, they do the outtakes in that, and John Cena. Look, man, I never overly rated John Cena, but since he's become a film actor, I find him so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, he is just hilarious.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because you look at the 3 that have come across. So we go with like the 3 mainstream. So you've got The Rock, you've got Dave Bautista, and you've got John Cena. And they've all kind of, other than Dave Bautista has done his like the comedy kind of films as well, because he did like
Uber and that
Spy and Uber. Yeah, Stuber. Yeah. So like they've all done that same kind of like the comedy side of it as well. Because obviously The Rock did fucking Tooth Fairy and Game Plan, and he played the gay guy in.
I'm not sure on that one, bro.
He played the Get Shorty sequel. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he's played the flamboyant roles and everything, and the funny roles, and and now it's just strict fucking action, isn't it?
He's got a thing in his contract now, isn't he? Like,
he's got to be the lead man, highest paid.
The lead man can't be beaten. Can't be beaten.
Oh, that's like
it's a bit wanky.
Up your own arse, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit wanky. It's like what I loved about Jackie Chan, as you were talking about earlier,
Gets his head kicked in.
He's like, he'd take a punch or he'd be beaten, and he's like, look, man, I can believe he's beaten. Whereas, like, if I'm gonna see the Rock take the Rock. One for the fucking photos. You know, you take the Rock and he takes a punch, and like if he just shakes it off, I'm like, oh come on, man, like let's just. I need you to be beaten down by somebody so I can see you get back up and beat them.
Do you know, right? I know. It's why I liked Daniel Craig and Timothy Dalton as Bond. I felt they took a really good beating,
mate. Timothy Dalton definitely took a beating, but fucking. And Daniel Craig as well. Daniel Craig I felt he definitely took a beating in times, mate. And like, it's look, all right. I'm watching Bond. I'm not under any illusion that he's going to be beaten. But like, if he gets beaten every now and then, exactly. So like, if he gets beaten every now and then, like at least it's a little bit more believable to me. Yeah. You know, because I mean, it's the same with Vin Diesel not getting beaten in them films. Family will keep me going. It's like, come on. Yeah, family doesn't stop a 9mm to the temple, dude. Like, exactly. if these people could fucking like fire a bullet straight, you'd be dead in the first film. It's ridiculous. 3 bullets, mate. One to the heart, 2 to the head. Like, you're done. You're done. I don't care who you are. You're done. You're done. It's like, at least the thing is, at least you could say, right? Okay, if we're getting into this realm, at least you can say Ethan Hunt, James Bond. Like, they've been trained, they're government super spies, you know, they're the business. Vin Diesel's a grease monkey. Mm-hmm. Where the fuck did he learn tactical espionage? Exactly. Like, and he takes down SWAT team after SWAT team. It's like this is the elite force. And Vin Diesel just wipes them all out and you're like, oh crap! He was changing a carburetor on the car like 5 minutes ago. Now it's just wiped out half of, you know, like. What's your argument? He's just hard. Yeah. I'm just hard. He can lift a really big wrench. Like, exactly, and like I mean it without the H. I mean I'm hard. Hard, yes. It's just We don't even need to pronounce the H. It's just hard. It's like. Oh, it's ridiculous. And then even like in the film, like Jason Statham, his character's like he's former another trained. One who's got well, no, but he's trained. Yeah, but he's trained. He can't be beaten in the film. His character's like former SAS or something because his character. Yeah. So it whooped fucking like Vin Diesel's ass. But no, we can't let that happen. No. Both of them got contracts that say we don't lose, and it's like, well. Someone's got to fucking lose. What did I watch? I watched him in something the other day. What did I watch him in the other day? Jason Statham. I can't remember. I'll go to see him tomorrow in the Meg, so that'd be cool. I tell you what, in A Man's Wrath or Wrath of Man. Wrath of Man. That was a good film. I quite like that. Yeah, that's the. I'm a big fan of fucking Guy Pearce films. Yeah, I like Guy Pearce films. Yeah, that's the trucks, isn't it? The money trucks. Yeah. It's one of the things I wanted to do with you on our movie pods. I wanted to do maybe the Gentleman. I love The Gentleman. They got a sequel, innit? It's such a good movie. They got a sequel. You're joking? No. I'm sure I read there's a sequel to it. I just need to fact check, but yeah, no, I love The Gentleman. Like I love. It's like the perfect role for Hugh Grant for me. It is. Hugh Grant's so good. Oh, it's a series. It's a series, and it's coming to Netflix apparently. Guy Ritchie. But The Gentleman is such a good movie. He didn't get that high a rating, but I was like, mate, I watched that and I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, it's there's great. One line that sticks in my head, and he's talking to John, one of the bruisers. And he goes, how many wheels you lift, John? And he goes, I'm on like 3 wheels a side now. And one of the stoners goes, I can. And he goes, you couldn't lift a wheel of cheese, you cunt. It stuck for me forever. I thought it's so cockney. It's fucking brilliant. And like the twists and turns in that as well. Yeah. Like I love it where he like it's, you know, we're getting towards the end of it, but like where he traps the old fucking smug twat geezer in the freezer van, and he's like, I want a pound of flesh, an ounce less.
Like, and that's it. And it was just like, here's a knife, you can carve it from wherever you fucking want, but I want a pound of flesh. And you're like, oh my God, he's going to make him actually carve like himself up. Wow, that's going to be hardcore. Wow, that's hardcore.
So, guys, if you haven't watched The Gentleman, go on Netflix, go and watch it. It is fantastic. Put the comments below. Tell us we're wrong if you want. I'll argue the toss.
I mean, if you want to, like you can come at us like with whatever the fucking King Arthur movie was. That weren't exactly amazing, but The Gentleman, like, yeah, you can't come at us for that. That's brilliant.
Nah, it's fucking fantastic.
That's
mate.
A throwback to Lock, Stock, and
when he was brilliant. He was brilliant in Lock, Stock, and he was brilliant in Lock, Stock, and Snatch.
That's it, Snatch. When a Revolver went a little bit,
all right,
a little bit off, like a little bit odd. When he married Madonna, something weird. He made some weird film with Madonna that I've never seen, that I'm ever going to see, because
interesting.
Don't know what she did to him. She must have like magical pussy or something, because fucking
exactly.
She sent him mental. Like he fucking But he's clawed his career back, in my opinion.
No, to be honest, I've always rated him as a director anyway, and he makes the films he want to make, which is
he doesn't actually. Considering when we talk about him, and you turn around and you go like we talk about Lock, Stock, we talk about Snatch and all that lot. If you actually look at his filmography, it's so all over the place. Because obviously you've got Sherlock in there as well, Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.
Sherlock's such a good movie as well. I love the Sherlock movie.
But then you've got fucking Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin, which was like out there. Out there.
Just weird. I'm just looking at it now. Rock and Roller, great film. Like
The
Gentleman, Wrath of Man.
Oh,
have you seen Operation Fortune with Jason Statham?
I have watched. Everyone hated that film, and I was like, once again, that's his Bond.
Hugh Grant.
I thought that was fucking quality.
I've not seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Mate.
But he done the screenplay.
TJ, let me stop you. Go and watch Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's
did you
the
ever watch
Army
the
Hammer
TV
and Henry
show?
Cavill, isn't it? No.
Yeah. No. Did you ever watch the TV show?
No, never.
So it's almost Mission Impossible-esque.
Yeah.
But it's 1960s.
Yeah. Just Cold War shit.
And honestly, I didn't give it the time of day, and I was bored the other night, weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this Man of U.N.C.L.E. a watch, and it was fucking brilliant. I won't lie, it was fucking brilliant. I loved every second of it, and I understand now why he put Cavill into the role he put into Mission Impossible. I understand, because it solidified it for me. So definitely go off tonight if you're bored after the UFC, which I want to talk to you about anyway. But go off after the UFC if you're bored and you got nothing to do. Go and watch Man of U.N.C.L.E. Fucking fantastic movie. It
sounds so. He's got a film coming out next year, and it so sounds like he's ripping off of Quentin Tarantino here. Let me just read this out to you, right, just quickly. In a film in 2024, he's got a film coming out called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and the tag to it: the British military recruits a small group of highly skilled soldiers to strike against Nazi forces behind enemy lines during World War II. Is that not like Inglourious Bastards?
Mate,
in essence,
I would watch that though. I would
because especially like it's got Henry Cavill in it.
Okay. I'm more interested now, dude. I'll be honest. I'm more interested.
Who else is in it? Alex Pettyfer. Okay. Henry Cavill. Alan Ritchson, who is Jack Reacher, and also he's the CIA geezer in Fast X. You know.
Yeah. He's in Fast X. That's what I was thinking.
No, he's in the thing with Nightwing.
Have you watched Reacher, by the way?
I've seen the first season of Reacher. It's brilliant.
Fucking absolutely fantastic.
How to fold up a human body and put it in a boot.
Mate, the dog scene. Yeah. Just the dog scene.
He's like, I'm going to fuck you up.
Dog like shit anymore. I'm just going to knock you out.
Yeah, he was in what was the Nightwing film? The DC film, you know, the DC series they did. He played one of the Titans. He was Hawk. He was Hawk.
Was he Hawk?
Yeah,
shit.
He was Hawk.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. but he is built like a brick shit house, isn't
Yeah.
he?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a large guy. Yeah, large guy.
Mate,
And I think
if
he's
I
gonna.
go into a drunken fight with him, I would back down. I'd back down like you would not believe. I'd be a cowering little mouse that wanted to escape.
He's yeah, he's another one that I think he'd fuck Vin Diesel up. So
yeah, 100%. I'm sure that in a film, I'm sure in the next X film, Vin Diesel's going to somehow fuck him up. But no one
CIA specially trained agent, and Vin Diesel gets the upper hand. Doubtful.
Well.
But
Tis what it is. Tis what it is. Right, we should get into entertainment news, dude. So
there's some silly and serious stuff. It's a real mixed bag for entertainment this week. Like last week was a little bit silly and stupid, the whole Lizzo stuff and everything and whatnot.
Yeah. We had a lot.
This week we've got some funny stuff, but we've also got some really bad stuff as well.
Enlighten us, TJ.
Well, what do you want first, silly or harrowing?
Let's go harrowing. We'll end with silly.
Well, obviously, less so much entertainment and more world news, I suppose you would put it. Although there is an entertainment link in there, is obviously the Maui fires at the moment.
Yes.
Death toll hits 80. Official rebuild efforts could top $5.5 billion.
That's such a shame, dude.
2,200 buildings and structures have been damaged.
Fucking hell.
2,170 acres have been burned. 6 fires are burning in Maui on the Big Island. Officials say Lahaina fire is now 85% contained, thankfully.
Christ.
And the way it ties in with entertainment is for those of you who love the old school band Fleetwood Mac. One of the lead guys, Mick Fleetwood, he actually owns a pub in Lahaina. Is it Lahaina? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, his pub is one of the affected areas, one of the affected buildings as well. So his pub that he opened in 2012 is gone.
Guys, we don't ask you to donate money, but if you find it in your hearts to just
any kind of
donate to them.
I will figure out the whatever GoFundMe or whatever there is for the Maui fires, and I'll put a link to it in the
put a link to it below, dude. It's unfortunately, those people don't deserve it. Unfortunately, I don't want to ask you for money. I'm not saying you should donate, but understand that they're in a horrible situation, and none of us should be in that situation. So anything that you can donate. Just to help them, them really, because hospitals have been hospitals have been destroyed. Sorry, and people's lives are in danger. And I don't want to be miserable, and I don't want to ask you for money. You don't have to. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is something you have to do, but just consider it, because we're all people that have to live on this ball together. And if we don't pull together in times of need, then it's harder for everybody.
Yeah,
100%. So,
moving away from that to some more light-hearted stuff. Pedro Pascal this week.
Oh yes.
So
love Pedro, by the way.
We love Pedro over here, The Last of Us, and in the unbearable weight of glorious talent or whatever with Nicolas Cage.
We've still got to watch that movie.
We have. I've seen it. I have watched it. But I will watch it again with you. It's a funny film. So yeah, there is currently in Margate, which is a town in the UK. There is an artist by the name of Heidi Gentle Burrell who has created an art exhibition of 14 images of the actor Pedro Pascal. Pedro found out about this. He was in the area, and so on the Sunday, what would that be? Last Sunday, wouldn't it? So what day are we talking about there?
It's 13 today, so 7 days below.
So yeah, he went to with his friend Russell Tovey, who you might know from Almost Human. He was the werewolf in Almost Human, and a friend of theirs who's also another gallery owner, Robert Damont. They went to attend the this art exhibition, and it's funny, it was closed on Sundays. So Pedro Pascal had his photo taken at the art exhibition outside the closed doors. And obviously the artist is mortified that she wasn't there. She works 6 days a week at the gallery. The one day she takes off a week, and Pedro himself. And she wrote a very funny article saying that like all she wanted to do was show him that she's not a complete raving nut job who's obsessed with him. And so yeah,
it's weird because we're all obsessed with him.
We're obsessed, yeah.
Mate, if Pedro said to me, "I'm showing up," I'm going, "Drop everything, cat. Drop everything. Drop everything."
I found that hilarious. That he decided, he went there, posted a selfie outside, and the woman was like, "Oh shit!" Like, you know.
I'm surprised she didn't show up herself, going in a knickers and bra, going, I'm sorry. I'm opening. Don't worry.
But if anyone is in the local area of Margate, it's open until the 1st of September. So yeah, it's at the the show is actually called ADHD, Hyperfixation, and Why It Looks Like I Love Pedro Pascal. That's the name. And it's
all right, so it sounds like she's a little obsessed. It's
at the Rhodes Gallery in Margate. And this is what she said. She was like, it would be very special if the Hollywood star would return so she could reassure him that she is not obsessed.
But it sounds like, when people go like, when your mate goes like, I'm not into her at all, but you can't stop talking.
I definitely am, yeah. Well, I found that story highly amusing. We all love a bit of Pedro.
Exactly.
Whether it be his Oberyn fame, like I say, whether it be
Pedro,
Joel in The Last of Us.
Please come on the pod.
I mean, come on the pod.
So we can just drool over you myself. I won't lie. I'm obsessed with you, so I'll drool over you.
Pretty much. We need to have a chat about The Last of Us 2, but we do that off camera.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. Just give the inside.
We've got something else that came out on Thursday was a plea from the National Trust in Pembrokeshire for people to stop leaving socks for Dobby. In Pembrokeshire, there's like this famous monument to Dobby where people go and
Harry Potter
from Dobby, where they leave pebbles and stuff for him, but they've also come to leave their socks for him,
which is understandable. The film, just to give anyone who's not familiar with the Harry Potter films, is I think it's Harry or Hermione gives him a sock to make him feel free. Because all you have to give a
a sock.
He's not a goblin, is he? He's
a slave essentially, isn't he? But he's like I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't really know what you'd class him as. Do you class him as? I don't know.
But like basically, if you give him something, an item that he can own, then it makes him free, basically. So I think Harry gives him a sock, and therefore makes him a free elf.
He's a house elf. He's a house elf for the Malfoy family, who are assholes, by the way.
So, and they are. But essentially, Harry gives him a sock, makes him free. So if you watch the films, I might be butchering it for you guys. I'm not trying to, because I know the Harry Potter fans can be quite aggressive. But like essentially, they give him a sock, and therefore he is free. And without ruining the films, he passes away, so saving someone. So therefore, I can understand why they're leaving a sock. However, TJ, why is this a problem for them?
Well, obviously, just another little bit of background. Obviously, the reason the area is like the memorial was there is because the movie was shot. Part of the movie was shot at this beach in 2009. And what they're saying is there are a lot of seals, grey seals, harbour porpoises, and seabirds that are all native to coming into that area. And obviously now there's socks and plastics and all sorts. Where it's not just the socks people are leaving; it's people are obviously throwing their rubbish and everything. And it's a whole thing.
So let's be honest,
but socks is obviously a very like not that you should not that you expect. I was about to say they expect rubbish. They don't expect glitter, but socks is like a random thing to be left on beaches. You know. But,
so guys, if you want to show your appreciation, we get it. A pebble would probably be better.
Keep your socks on.
Keep your socks on. Don't do that. I know that you love the film, and I understand the sentiment, but just let's be like we all got to live on this marble together. Yeah. So let's just be conscious so we don't want to kill wildlife, because wildlife we love. Me and TJ will both tell you that we love us. Also, to the thing that I didn't do that I realized that I didn't do at the start is obviously I'm Jay Morris. This is TJ. We are.
A little bit late, but there you go.
Of your podcast. So I realised I hadn't done it, and I've got to do it, so I didn't do it.
I will just say to anyone out there, he did say marble. That's right, because we live on a round planet. It's not flat. It's round.
Yeah, it's not flat. Guys, if you're a flat earther,
no,
you can just leave. That's fine. That's just I don't want the edge. I don't want you to be here. So
walk off the edge and
that's it. That's fine, guys. So. Leave your madness at the door, if you don't mind. So just leave your madness there, because the planet is round. It's spherical. It's a sphere, right? As proven by many scientists. So...
Right, moving on. Into some actual movie related news on the entertainment section. Insidious, The Red Door, sets new record at the box office. Insidious Red Door has hit another box office milestone, becoming the highest grossing horror movie of 2023. That is, of course, until later on this year. Five Nights at Freddy's gets released, because I can guarantee you that's going to go gangbusters in the cinema.
What about Saw? Don't deny Saw.
I don't think Saw will do great at the cinema. I'll be honest with you, because it's number 10. I think some people will be like, this is fucking ridiculous. But Five Nights at Freddy's has a absolute feverish fan base behind it. So I think Five Nights at Freddy's will do very, very well. The Blumhouse production, Insidious The Red Door, that is, has only been in theaters for a month, and it has already garnered $182.5 million at the global box office to become the Insidious movie to have earned the most money in cinemas. It's also surpassed Megan, which was previously... Did Megan come out this year?
Megan did come out this year.
Megan, 180.
It did massive numbers.
It did 180 million total. That was total box, and obviously it doesn't seem like Red Door's stopping at the moment. So it's already surpassed that, and it's still going.
I will say, out of films that horror films do very, very well. We're not talking billions here, kids. They're not like blockbusters, but as films go, horror films do very, very well.
I think it depends.
Very well.
The genre of horror film that seems to do really well is the one that I hate the most, and that's the possession type movies. So you think the Ed and Lorraine Warren, what are those films? The Conjuring seems to do really well. Insidious seems to do really well. All the kind of sinistery type films, the Exorcist films, all the kind of possession, weird spirity based films.
Not into possession, dude.
I'm not. No, they're one and the same. If I watch the Conjuring and Insidious, and they're all I watched Insidious. I'll be honest, right? I watched Insidious, the very first one, and I was actually like, do you know what? This isn't actually too bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Until we saw the fucking Red Demon playing the organ, and he turns around and is you look like a sack of shit, mate. This film has just gone off the fucking rails. This is stupid. Fuck this bullshit. I can't be arsed with it anymore.
Get the shit out of me. You know when the demon appeared beyond the kid, though?
Yeah, when they're in the room and everything and that, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But I just find they all horror films play off the same hymn sheet, but and there's nothing new or there's no new ground ever really trodden. But
no, I get it.
With the possession stuff, I'm just like, there's so fucking many, so many.
They are
because we've got
I will submit to that.
We've got another Exorcist film coming out.
Really?
There's another Exorcist. It's called is it The Beginning or something? It comes out later this year. So there's another Exorcist film coming out. And I'm just like, I much rather
This is a
Watch
man
a
who
hack
loves
and
horror,
slash.
kids.
I
This is a
do.
man
I
who
love,
loves horror.
but I love, like I say, I love my hack and slash. You know, I love cheesy horror as well, and I just the possession stuff. I'm like meh. I'm like meh. You know.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I am shocked. As your friend, I am shocked by that.
I'm just, I would have
thought, you know, you've been into all it.
No,
I like all horror anyway, so it makes no difference to me. But I'm not obsessed. I'm not into it.
I mean, I can't say that I'm obsessed when I have a large portion of horror that I really don't. It's not, you know, I don't find it entertaining. You know, there might be the one or two, like the first Sinister film, I did actually really enjoy that. There are one or two that pique my interest, but for the large, normally I steal.
By the way, we'll talk about it more later.
I steer clear normally of those type of horror, and like because they're just not for me. Like there's a film out called Hereditary that everyone said looks amazing, but it just
I've heard of it. It's really good.
Like I'm just like, it looks like a film that I'm just gonna be like meh. You know,
have you not watched it? I've not watched it myself.
I haven't.
So
no.
I can't comment on it.
I mean, tell
Maybe
us in the
watch
comments.
it and we'll give a big fucking commentary.
Yeah, tell us in the comments below if you think it was good and it's worth.
Oh yeah, guys. If you want to tell us we're wrong, tell us in the comments below. We're all up for comments. You can tell us how wrong we are, and we'll dismiss them immediately. But like, a joke. It's a joke. But like, you know, I like to give all horror a chance, I think. But like yourself, some horror is just too meh.
Yeah.
That I don't care enough about. Like I think I'm a goremonger.
Yeah, 100%. I'm, you know, like Saw and stuff like that. Like I want to watch Saw. Like definitely want to watch Saw because although once again it's nothing's going to be new and inventive. It's like they're going to try and do something that to wow us. It's going to be ridiculous and stupid and so illogical and everything, but it's, you know, it's still entertaining, you know.
Well, he's going to Europe or something this time, isn't he? Isn't that the trailer I saw?
It's set. I think it's set after the first, before the second, or maybe before the first. I'm not 100% on the timeline, but he's alive. John's alive. Jigsaw's alive, and
so let's face it. The best thing about Saw was Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Like when Jigsaw was gone, I was like, Saw.
Well, it had the greatest twist of a horror film that I've seen in a long, long time, when the fucker got up off the floor in the middle of the fucking bathroom. And you're like,
fucking so good.
Shut up, he was there the whole fucking time. Like, he's there on the fucking floor watching this play out, just like, didn't even move. Like, that's mental.
It's the same thing for me. Like, a lot of people don't like Phone Booth, but I found
What, with Colin Farrell? I don't mind.
Yeah. Absolutely fascinating that there is like they're going to set this whole film apart from the end parts obviously, but like they're going to set this whole film in a guy who's trapped in a phone booth dealing with his own demons, the own things that like this guy is just calling him out for. I fucking found it fascinating.
I do wonder if films like that, because there's another film with Wesley Snipes called Liberty Standstill that's very much a sniper-based film like that. A little bit of a different setting. I think it's like in an open park or something. But I do wonder, like, I'd like to know when that film got released and when the old sniper stuff happened in America as well, because I do wonder if people are turned off going and watching films if it's too close to home. And, like, because I'll always remember when the 9/11 terrorist attack happens, Arnie had a film coming out called Collateral Damage, and they had to pull it because of, obviously, it's like, fucking hell, we've got a terrorist film here that's got, like, they're blowing up a fucking building in America.
Yeah.
And we've just had the fucking terror attack. You know? And I just wonder if for some people, like, you see certain stuff, like even in, like, American Horror Story, when you've got the whole story going on in the first one about, like, he's going to do a school shooting, essentially, Evan Peters. And they play along those lines, and you're just like, oh, how is this going to be taken? Because it's a massive, massive issue in these countries, and you just wonder if it's maybe you skirt too close to the controversial nature. Like, for the rest of the world, like that's not a regular occurrence for us, or at least it's not in the news regularly for us. Like America's so far removed from us, and the shit that happens over there, unfortunately.
But UK based, by the way.
Yeah, we are UK based. Yeah. So like to us, it's just like, oh, cool, it's a sniper film. We're the same. And in America, they're like, well, that fucking shit legit happened. You know, the fucking sniper went on a rampage, started murdering people. And you're just like, okay, maybe that affects films. Like, I wonder if like the prism that we look at stuff, you know. And we're like, well, why did that flop? Well, because people didn't want to see it because it was too close to home, you know? Maybe. I'm just spitballing.
Arguably, I can understand that point. I can understand how, you know, they would look at it and go, well, you know, we just witnessed this 4 miles away from our house. I don't want to be reminded of the terror that I went through. I actually went through, not like made light of. Because Arnie's going to fire 400 million bullets from a pistol that only holds 15. Yeah. So, you know, I understand it. It's removing yourself from the situation. And like in the UK, we can remove ourselves a lot from the situation because, let's face it, there's films that are set in the UK, but we don't see guns very often in this country.
No.
So, you know, for us, it's always cool. That's cool. He's got a gun. It's cool. You know, I've got pellet guns here, but like they're pellet guns.
Yeah.
So it's not like I can fire a gun and kill a man. So, you know, you get sort of to the point where you're going, well, I'm not feeling the same emotion that they would go through if someone sniped someone through my window. I'm not gonna get that same emotion that someone in America who's actually had someone sniped through their window.
Yeah,
you know, it's all just fantasy to us. It's almost so far removed that we can dismiss it entirely, and it's movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, how often do you hear about a shooting in the UK?
Very, very rarely. Yeah, very, very rarely.
You know, so
obviously we do have an issue with knife crime. You know, there is.
Of course,
we do have our own issues in this country. But yeah, on like the mass shooting side of things, yeah, we are. You know, we don't really get that over here at all. Really, to be honest,
we had a, you know, not to boo-hoo me, but like we had a stabbing just in the Stourbridge where I live, just the other week. You know, and I said to my friend, I said, like, well, that's Stourbridge done for us because I don't want to get, I'll be honest, I don't want to get stabbed. I don't want to go out and drink and get stabbed. And it was only a young person. You think so many young people are so fucked up in a way that they're willing to take another person's life so quickly. Do you know what I mean?
That's a whole different argument that we could go down. It's a really, it's a really, that's a rabbit hole that could lead us in a lot of different directions.
Maybe we'll bring it up again in another podcast, and me and TJ will really deep dive into it. But like for now, let's keep it light. Keep it light.
Okay, so moving on from Insidious into American Crime. Last one is Wonder Woman 3. We mentioned it last week, didn't we? We said last week Gal Gadot is getting Wonder Woman 3. Well, a few days later.
We're wrong.
Posted
straight up.
2 days ago. Wrong. Well, Empire is reporting there's a key word in here, Jay, and it's called might. The word is might. It's Wonder Woman 3 might not happen in the DCU after all. And pretty much what they're going out to say, that obviously Gal Gadot had said in an interview that she would be developing a Wonder Woman 3 film with James Gunn and Peter Safran, is it?
That's the other guy.
They've got their only surname. I was just trying to remember what his first name was. So yeah, Peter Safran. There are doubts being cast though. Gunn and Safran, who are not in development on Wonder Woman 3 or any other Wonder Woman movies, is what they've come out and said. Gunn previously announced the third outing for Gal Gadot Community has apparently not been planned. So there's a little bit of I tell you what, it's really interesting because I kind of feel like I said to you, like the DCU, there's like there's so many different things going on, and we don't know. Like, you've got over here, you've got James Gunn, Peter Safran, who are supposed to be heading it. They're supposed to be leading the new way of the DCU. They've got their slate planned and everything, and it contains, the new Superman,
like
new Batman.
They had everything under
exactly, yeah. But then over here, you've got, and I wonder if it's more like fan led in terms of like, we want Henry Cavill as Superman, and like, you see Henry Cavill into Black Adam and everything.
Fucking go on the internet without seeing Henry Cavill should be fucking Superman again.
And then you've got, and the guy that they've hired for the new Superman film, which is an origin story, it fucking looks like Henry Cavill. But anyway,
he does 100%. Me and TJ had a big argument.
It's literally because Jay thinks he could be his dad, and I was like, if Henry Cavill had him at 12, and he was like, well, it's possible to have someone at 12. I was like, well, it's probably possible, but highly improbable. But anyway, the likelihood is he's not Henry Cavill's son, but he does look like he could be Henry Cavill's son. Anyway, it's the jawline. It's the fucking jawline.
It is the jawline. Jesus Christ, he looks spit out of his mouth, man.
It does. So, like, and then obviously, the Gal Gadot's come out and done an interview. And I wonder if they're putting it out there in the ether to get the fans back in, so that James Gunn goes, oh, well, we weren't really thinking about it, but look at all this, like the fan clamour for it. Maybe we'll do it.
I've never seen James Gunn bow to fans.
I have never.
I've never seen James Gunn bow to fans.
If anything, he's like, it makes him more hard and fast to the way he wants to go,
Yeah.
But I just don't really know, to be honest. But it just seems like he's trying to move on from the old, and I don't get me wrong.
Can you blame him? Can you blame him?
So mistakes were made with the original DCU, like Zack Snyder.
It was too dark. It was just I'm just gonna.
I appreciated it
TJ though. Now, it was too dark. It was too dark. Like, everything was too gritty. It was too real, and like, it's not what. Especially in Superman. In Superman, I mean, you want him to be super.
Are you going to have the argument that he kills fucking Zod? Is this where you
I don't give a shit that he killed Zod.
Thank God, thank God.
Why
I hated when people were like, well, it killed Zod. That's just like, that's not Superman. He killed Zod.
No,
it's like,
my argument is that he was too dark. He didn't feel like when I read Superman, when I've watched Superman, like Superman's the epitome of good. He's Captain America times.
He's all American, yeah.
So, understandably, he kills Zod because it's his only option.
I didn't see that.
So
as an issue.
That.
I did not see that as an issue. Yeah,
but like, for him, when it comes down to, all right, you're gonna hate me, BVS, right? He is so miserable about being Superman.
Batman versus Superman, by the way.
Yeah, that's what BVS means. Like, he is so miserable about being Superman. I just didn't buy it.
But do you not get Superman? Why he was miserable?
I got why he was miserable.
Like to hit. I completely empathise with him, because let's be honest, you are saved single-handedly. You've saved the fucking planet, right? And single-handedly you carry on saving the planet. Yet we do what, as humans, we always do. We want to tear shit and people down. It's it is actually the perfect analogy for like everything that goes on around us.
It's too gritty, dude. It's too gritty.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's so on point, because it, like, if ever there was a case of like the human condition, it's that film, because it's like we build people up to a point, and then we're like, nah. Tear the fucker down, and we look for any means possible to tear that person down.
I'm not saying it's not realistic. What I'm saying is that for a superhero, it's too gritty. People don't want to.
But I appreciate that they didn't want to do what Marvel, like, they could have made Marvel DCU.
Yes, they could have.
And I'm so happy they didn't.
And it would have served them better.
Yeah, but I'm obviously in the minority here, and I understand that. And obviously, they're not making the film for me; they're making it for the larger audience.
They kicked off a massive minority about that film.
They did, but the larger, like, the thing that makes Marvel so massive is the fact that it's not just the Marvel fans, it's the greater populace that like Marvel films. Like, it's not just the diehards, it's they've reached so many more people.
Below, kill me, I don't give a shit.
Whereas DC, like, DC didn't capture the non-fanatical fans of the DC, like, you know, universe.
And DC's always been more gritty than than the Marvel. I understand that, but like for me as a comic book reader, I was like, but like you've got to have a shining light of hope. And Superman was always a shining light of hope. So I understand you've got Batman, who's gritty and fucking times are grim and fucking everything's miserable over in Gotham, which is why you've got Gotham. Yeah. And Metropolis is meant to be a shining beacon that, you know, what's the name of it? Fucking DC.
What? I need more information.
No, DC.
Detective Comics?
The area where the fucking
Washington
president lives.
Washington.
So Washington,
when you say DC, I think you're talking about the name of the comics. I was like,
no, I was trying to like
Washington DC.
Yeah, Washington DC. So like, it's meant to be like, oh, here's, you know, the beacon of hope. It's where this country was founded. It's, you know, and so you've got Superman who's almost smiling as bullets hit off him because he understands that I'm so hard. This is an issue for me. Whereas Batman, because he's real and he's a human, like when bullets hit him, he's meant to be injured. So when you've got Superman being miserable, Batman being miserable, Wonder Woman was the only shining beacon of hope. I was just like, come on. Like, Wonder Woman actually saved them both in BVS.
No.
It wasn't even a movie.
No, she didn't. Only one.
Don't give me the Martha. Don't give me the Martha line.
One person, one woman, and what a woman. Martha is who saved both of them.
I hate it.
All right. I will say
so much.
I will say
so much.
You've got that much venom and anger towards your foe. Okay, and by the end of it, Batman's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Do you bleed? You know, it's like, I'm like, we're not watching Predator, mate. We're not watching Predator. If he bleeds, we can kill it. We're not watching fucking Predator. We're watching Batman. But yeah, Batman's trying to fucking kill like this god, and this god's like, you fucking peewee ant, and like slaps him about a little bit. They have a war, and then it's just like, I'm just about to kill you, and it's like, Martha. It's like, oh, Martha's my mummy's name. Oh, is it? Oh no. Oh, okay. Oh, we can be best friends now. You know, like,
I hated it so much.
How does your mother's name? This is what I will go with this. But how does your mum's name instantly absolve all the hatred in your heart for this other person? Because you're like, because mum's name's Martha, who technically isn't even his mum, because you're fucking alien. Like, so he's not your mum. But anyway, like, she turned and was like, oh, your mum's name's Martha. That must mean you're okay. Now,
we're buddies.
Now, so what I'm saying here is, right, okay, on this train of thought, all the Joker needed to do was say, yo, Bats, my mum's called Martha. And he'd be like, oh, fine, fuck it, let's be mates.
Fuck it. No, you're right. Like,
it doesn't make fucking sense. But no. All right, Zach, we'll trust.
Fucking... I hope his Star Wars movie, Something Moon, comes out this year and it's good, because I don't get me wrong, for all the Snyderverse fans out there, right? I don't disrespect that he can make a very, very good visual film.
Visually, they're stunning.
Yes, 100%.
They do definitely have holes in the plot and the storyline.
Yeah, like as a story writer.
But I also feel that, like, it also wasn't helped that they brought in Joss Whedon, who by all accounts was a complete knobhead. Like, yes, okay, Joss Whedon did a very good thing over at Marvel, done some really interesting movies, but then they brought him in to, like, obviously Zack Snyder, I believe it was his daughter or someone passed away, didn't they, in Zack Snyder's life?
Yes.
And obviously,
his daughter committed suicide.
That was it.
It was very sad. It was
and
very
obviously,
sad,
so he took he left the project right at the very, very end. And then Joss Whedon come in and, by all accounts, was just like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm ripping it up and refilming after film. And it made no coherent sense because you've got two different visions that were so polar opposites that when they tried to pull it together, it just didn't fucking work. And so you've got a shit show. But that really should be, like, to criticise, like, Dawn of Justice, you've kind of got to lay that on the feet of the execs and Joss Whedon. Like, I think Zack Snyder does absolve himself. Whether or not you liked the Snyder cut, which was shot in
like the 4.3.
Like,
it was better. It was better than Joss Whedon's, but if you've got 4 hours to tell a story, then it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Right? No matter what.
Well, you can flush out the characters. Like, Cyborg didn't get flushed out at all. In the original, so I like the fact that he, like, his
Cyborg
character
just came into it, like,
Cyborg's just like, I'm here, and by the way, I'm
am.
actually super fucking important because you can't actually separate these things without me. So, you know, he's actually probably one of the most pivotal fucking characters in the whole the whole movie,
100%.
and he's got no backstory essentially.
Yeah, 100%.
So that it was, you know, yes, 4 hours. You can flush the shit out of stuff in 4 hours. But yeah, so going back to the main point, Wonder Woman 3, maybe not.
It seems that what I read, not opposing TJ, but like essentially what I read is that, you know, the heads at DC, which is Gunn and Safran, don't really have any plans for it.
No.
Like, regardless of what Gal Gadot said, and don't get me wrong, I want to see Gal Gadot come back as Wonder Woman, which is a fantastic Wonder Woman. I thought the first film was great. The second film, meh.
I do think, though, judging on the Henry Cavill stuff, that there probably was a conversation between Gal Gadot, Safran, and Gunn.
Yeah.
And there was talk legitimately about a film. I don't think she's plucking this story out of her ass. I legitimately think they probably maybe brainstormed a few things, but they never gave her a clear indication, yes or no. So they've left it, so, like, because her coming out and saying, like, because it's very much along the same lines as why Cavill come back as Superman, wouldn't it? And then 10 minutes later, they're like, nah, you know. But then again, it's still, they haven't actually said, nah. They just said, not right now. So they're kind of leaving them on the hook.
Talking away from facts.
Yeah.
Now, I would prefer, and I know a lot of people are going to come at me and come at me in the comments by all means, I would prefer that they just clean slate it and they just go with not necessarily a new cast, but a new story. Right? I didn't mind Cavill as Superman. I thought he was a very good Superman as it goes. And Wonder Woman, I thought she was great. But I think if you're going to come in and you're going to change things up like they are, I think you've got to clean cut it. And you've got to go, right, that's the end of that universe. Let's call it Universe 616. Yep. Right? Or Universe 2018, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? But you've got to clean cut it. Because you're going to be judged by that universe regardless. There's nothing you can do. I mean, let's face it, Marvel has done nothing fantastic.
With like phase 5. Is it 5? I don't know. I've lost count.
Yeah, 5. Honestly, again, Marvel fans, come at me if you want to. But, like,
it's oversaturated, isn't it? It's an oversaturated market.
It's too much. It's too much.
That's the problem.
You know, we used to have 2 movies a year and look forward to them. Now you've got a movie.
2 a month, mate. You got 2 a month.
You know, 3 fucking seasons of telly that I've got to watch as well. A comic that I've got to catch up on. And it's like, dude. I'm a moviegoer. I didn't mind two movies a year to get a sprinkling of story. We're not talking about a TV series where I need sequential fucking things for 10 episodes or whatever. I'm talking I need a sprinkling to get a hint that Thanos or Galactica or fucking someone is coming at me, right? I get that. So you giving me too much is like, if I'm not signed up to Disney Plus, what you're saying is I can't follow. I understand you've got to sell your service, but find a better way. Ultimately, find a better way.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with DC. Obviously, Flash was bullshit, but Flash can't really be you can't really say anything like it wasn't under Gunn and Safran's watch, although they've taken over. It was already a finished movie. Same as Aquaman 2 is technically a finished movie, so when that gets released, it's not a Gunn and Safran film.
No.
Even though they
Keep
are
that
the
in mind,
heads.
kids, because I saw it a lot with Flash. Everyone was going, "Oh, this is what happens when Gunn and Safran take over." And I go,
"It's a finished product. What? It's a finished product."
All they did was go, "Yeah, all right, let it out." Or we could spend another 200 million and fail.
That's the thing. I feel with the Flash and with Aquaman 2, even if Gunn and Safran went in and were like, "These are fucking dog shit, we can't release these," they've probably had so much money behind them, they can't write them off where they are in a finished state. So the execs have probably gone and said, "You can do what you like from now, but these have got to be released because we're in the hole too much money for these films. Probably 100%. In excess of 200 million each, easy 300 million, whatever.
Easy, mate.
Well, I don't know. The Flash, that CGI was so terrible that it was done
350 million. The Flash is in the awful. 350
mate,
million.
What the fuck? They filmed it on a Polaroid
mate,
and used a
don't get me on it.
An old school Apple Mac fucking 1995 to do the editing. It was terrible.
Mate, honestly, it was like they got university students to make the fucking. I'm not.
No, mate, that's
talking shit about uni students.
No. My fucking 7-year-old niece on one of those fucking cameras that you get for Christmas. Like that's what was fucking filmed on. Don't even besmirch the good name of university students. They will produce better shit than that with fucking Apple 100%. Phones. Like it was so honestly, bad.
Don't get me started because that baby scene. I was like, mate, I'm sorry. Do you want me to buy this? Are you actually asking me to buy this? Because that baby don't look real. I've seen real babies. You understand, right?
It was so bad.
I've seen real babies.
Yep.
So. No.
It was,
and one you stuck in a fucking microwave.
Microwave, yeah.
Fuck off.
But yeah, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. There is plenty to look forward to, potentially look forward to, but until it actually until stuff actually starts hitting the cinema and the TV screens, we'll have to wait and see if Gunn and Safran can actually turn this shit around.
A little bit of SAG-AFTRA news. The AFTRA went into a meeting the other week, and
sorry, Jay. Just quickly for anyone who doesn't know, that's the writers' strike, the Screen Actors Guild, the writers' strike that's going on in America currently. Well, America. Sorry.
It is. Essentially, they did go back into a meeting just to try and figure this stuff out. It did not come out favorably, so they are going to go back to striking.
I imagine this is going to be like the writers' strike from a few years back, this is
2008.
This is going to be months.
It will.
But it's the same with everything. We have train strikes over here and other bits and pieces. NHS workers are striking, nurses and that are striking and stuff. It never gets sorted out. First round of talks, always. The golfing difference is so vast, it's never going to get sorted with one round of talks. They need to get behind need to get behind the table multiple times before they can even get close to flashing anything out. So I would expect this to go on till at least Christmas, if not longer.
And just to reiterate to people that don't understand, this isn't about the Hollywood stars that get paid millions. This is about people like myself and other small actors and support actors that literally have to work second and third jobs in order to continue to live in LA and to live in Atlanta and all the places that they film, just for them to have a living. So any support you can give to them, please go support them. Don't think it's about your Tom Cruises, your Ben Afflecks. Like, they're not suffering, kids. They're not suffering. And to be honest, if anything, they're giving money towards these people. I think The Rock gave an substantial amount. I'm talking 7 figures. He gave 7 figures towards them. Because ultimately they're not the actors who are suffering, kids. It's the small actors, the ones that they go do 4 lines and then they're offset. What they're saying is that they don't want to pay them their money. They want to still continue to pay Tom and The Rock, Dwayne, and all those big people their big money, but they don't want to pay the small actors their money. But guys, they're still acting. It's still their passion. So, I'm sober now, so I'll say it straight. Whereas, so understand that this isn't a call to action to get more billionaires money. This is a call to get tiny people like me and you and
a fair
TJ
wage.
and Ron who just want money to exist.
Can I ask you a question? Just going back to something you said about The Rock. Okay. Great thing The Rock did. 7 figures. Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
But I always have a tinge because I'm like that. I'm that person.
You are that person.
It's like, that's great publicity for him.
100%.
Like,
he's not the only one.
It's great. It's like when you see, because it's always all over social media as well, isn't it? It's like, because The Rock also bought someone a house or something.
Oh, I knew.
Was it an MMA fighter? And I was like,
TJ likes UFC.
And it's like, I was like, and I'm just like, yeah, this makes you look really great because everyone's like, oh, how good is The Rock? He's done this, and I'm like, yeah, that's financially that's nothing to him. So and giving anything is fucking amazing. Whether it's a pound, 1,000, 10 grand, $1 million, whatever. Giving money, generosity like that is fucking amazing. But there is also a there is also, I can see you, Jay. There is also a tinge of personal gratification. Oh, no, that's not the word I'm looking for.
It's not gratification, but it gives him publicity, right?
Yeah. It's that it's the boost in the public eye that I always it's still a great thing, but it's not. It's not done with the purest of. What I'm saying is, it's a great thing, but it's not always done with the purest of reasons behind it. Like he hasn't just gone. I want to do this for my fellow man. He knows he's getting back from that as well.
Of course, he's definitely getting back from it. But what I will say that because TJ, I don't know if you know, he was the first to do it, and that's
even better for him.
Bigger.
That's even better for him.
Other bigger names.
He's the first one to do it, so everyone was like,
Yeah.
So it's even better for him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not doing it just because out of the kind of his art. Some publicist within his fucking argument said, can you spare a couple of mil or a mil or whatever the fuck, and say, you give this, your popularity goes from here, which is already, let's face it, up here somewhere. Your publicity will go, and it also forces the hand almost of other people because if the Rockers give 7 figures, then Tom Cruise gave 7 figures, then Ben Affleck and J-Lo give 7.
I mean, it's great in the long run. The money donated is fantastic, but yes. I'm like. It's
such a cynical, mate.
It's like if me and you were to go and donate today,
20 quid.
No. In comparison, we send £100 over to Maui, to the relief fund for
which we may. I'm
just saying, we are doing that because we are not looking. There's no upside to that.
No.
There's no. We're not going to get in the paper going, wow, look at fucking, these 2 guys gave £100 to the relief fund.
No one's giving.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a more selfless act for us,
yes.
but then we're also not giving 7 figures, so there is that.
Figures get you in the paper, mate.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
I give 7 figures. My wife goes, and where was you arguing this?
I'm on that split level between like it's fucking amazing that they can do that because they've got exorbitant wealth, so they can give exorbitant donations like that.
$1 million to him must be like me giving you.
That's why I said £100.
Right?
That's why I said 100. The equivalent of us giving £100 and him giving is £1 million in retrospect. Maybe more like 50 quid from us or like 20 quid from us. To what his wealth is. But yeah, there's always an agenda. Whereas and that's where I'm like, yeah.
But isn't that all famous people? I mean, it's all showmanship, right? Surely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're showmen, so like essentially, them giving anything is always going to be. I mean, because if they gave nothing, that would equally become news.
Yeah.
Because such and such gave nothing, I don't
know if it would because we're not turning around and saying, well, The Rock's done it, Tom's done it. Why hasn't Vin Diesel given any money yet? Like we're not.
Vin Diesel's a fat cunt to give a shit.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Opinion. We're not. Like you say that, like if no one gave anything, we wouldn't.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
We might be saying there are some high-profile people in Hollywood that could help out, but they wouldn't be pointing fingers directly at one individual.
No, they wouldn't.
So,
but him doing it means that other people want to get in that.
Yeah. Like I say, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's a very
no. But what I'm trying to say is ultimately because he's done it,
Yeah.
Then Tom then donates because he's like, well, I also want a bit of this publicity. Yeah. Because I mean, if you're even if you're a megastar and you give, let's just say 100,000, right, and then Rock comes up and gives $1 million, you put out, aren't you? Because no one's going to talk about your even though it's $100,000, which is a ridiculous amount of money. It's not $1 million, but when you say $1 million, TJ.
Oh,
$1 million is like a completely different era of money, isn't it?
It's life-changing money. It is,
of course
like,
it is.
But then again, you know what else? You could turn around and say he's given £1 million to the Screen Actors Guild. What's name? But then there are 80 people that have actually died, lost their lives.
Oh yeah.
And the devastation that is $5.5 billion in. There's always, and I'm not saying this.
Oh, of
I'm
course,
just saying
100%,
when you turn around and say there are certain people that will turn around and go, oh well, they haven't done anything. We turn around and say there are going to be people that sit there and go, well, The Rock's given £1 million to that. Well, why are they giving £1 million to that when there's actually people died, homeless?
Oh, yeah.
Dave,
why didn't
the
you?
voice actor, he could
high
go
news conversation.
Yeah, well, it's like Dave, the guy who's struggling actor. He could go and get a job at Foot Locker. Like these people can't go and fucking get another house. There's always going to be that negativity.
Next week, right? Next week, we were talking about what's the place? Haiti.
Haiti, yeah.
Haiti. And I guarantee that
sorry,
The Rock
Hawaii,
or someone...
Hawaii,
not
Haiti.
Right, you're right. Right, Hawaii, I guarantee you he's put some money toward it. I guarantee you.
Yeah, well, someone.
The Rock, maybe. The Rock. Almost guaranteed The Rock.
Yeah.
I guarantee he's put money towards it.
Probably.
I guarantee it. Before we get into Twisted Metal, I need you to vamp for a little bit because my bladder has gone weak.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Right, I'm back.
But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I say, I feel that it's, it is great being in the position to be able to give those kind of money. Because like I say, for some charities, some organisations, some things like that is like unbelievable amounts of money to be given that will help the cause greatly. But I always do have that thing that it's just like, there is an agenda with everything. Like myself, Jay, Dave on the street who gives money to whether it be a heart foundation, a cancer research, any kind of thing like that. I see them as they're doing it like out of the kindness of their heart. They're not looking for gratification. They don't go around taking out newspaper articles going, look, I've given this money. There's no agenda to what those people do, but obviously they can't gift on the same wealth level as your Hollywood superstars. But your Hollywood superstars get the benefit of being able to have that money to gift, but then also they get the bump from doing it in the press, in the media. You know, there's all, like I say, it's agendas, you know, but it's still a great thing. Ultimately, boiling it down, that kind of money being gifted to any organisation is phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's just like I say, there's always that little nefarious side of things like in the background that I see, you know.
Well, dude, it's always worth talking about. It's always worth talking about.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's not a bad, like him getting a few lines in the press isn't terrible. Like the £1 million he's going to give is going to be utilised, but
to help people.
But to help people, so it's you know, it's a great thing, but. You know, it's just that little. You know, I like to be like
ultimately
the little devil's out. You know,
if the opinions didn't talk about it, who is talking about it? I'm sure other people are talking about it. I'm not saying we're the only podcast who is talking about it, but like essentially our podcast is about our opinions. Yeah. It's about our feelings on the matter. So we've got to talk about it. We can't just be suck him off because we like him, suck him off. You know. So yeah. Be crude, but we're crude on this podcast. Yeah. So, well, if you're listening, then that's what it's about.
I mean, we've got, considering it's a slow news week, we've fucking gone on forever about the entertainment news, and we've gone off on so many different tangents. I think we're probably about time we got into some Twisted Metal.
Yes, yes, I agree. I went for a wee, then I was like, should probably talk about
we're probably going to run a little bit long here. Maybe we'll get through this. But so obviously up to this point we've watched episodes 1 to 5 so far. We're at the halfway point. Today we're going to cover 6, 7 and 8, leaving us 8 and 9, the final 2 episodes to cover.
Correct. So this one was called Drive Through. Episode 6 was called Drive Through, or DRU. THRU, which is obviously drive through.
Yeah,
and it makes sense because they go into a burger place, don't they? Because she's been injured at this point.
Yes, yeah. So where we left off, she fought Stone, didn't she? In the vehicular warfare, Stone got that whole thing of like, if you don't see they're dead, you don't know if they're dead. Obviously, he gets hit with a rocket from John's car, and John saves, drags Quiet away, and she's in a bad state. But it actually starts off. It started off with the flashback, didn't it, for Quiet with her brother. And this actually,
so we get a bit of backstory, don't we? Actually get a bit of backstory.
It kind of like, and they've done it quite well throughout. There've been flashbacks throughout every episode, haven't there? But this really showed how dire the situations were. Like, so they were working in like an orange picking field. You know,
OC.
Well, no, they went to the OC, didn't they?
No, they were in the OC when they were doing that.
Okay.
OC is Orange County.
Oh, yeah, no, it's Orange. Yeah, but obviously they make a point of like, they went to the bad. So anyway, and they seemed quite free. It's not like they were like had, slavers there slapping them with whips and stuff, and they were chatting, and but she quite goes over to her brother and says, "Look, I've got us this deal. 4 years. We work for 4 years. You work as a server. I work as a maid for 4 years, and then they give us a plot of land." It's like that, like we said in the very first episode, where Neve Campbell turns around and says, "Look, John, look what I can give you. If you do this one job for me, I can give you New San Francisco." Yeah. And then on the other hand, no, she's a callous bitch. Fucking John ain't getting nothing from her.
No,
and this, 100%. And there's that understanding. We don't know that to start with, but you just know this sounds fucking far too good. You're going to do 4 years work, and they're giving you 2 acres of land, and that.
It shows you the divide again, doesn't it? It shows you the divide, even though they've already created a divide between the wall and the scum that goes outside. Now we're learning about the divide that goes in the wall.
It's so much worse than what we thought.
Yeah.
But before we get there, like I ranted last week, didn't I, Joe? I ranted last week.
I loved it.
And I will be honest.
I love it.
some of you guys may have watched all 10 episodes. I know Jay's seen the whole series, but I have watched this up until the episode. So last week, up until last week, I'd only watched up to 5. So we did the podcast. I've only watched up to 8. We've done episodes 6, 7, and 8. I've only watched up to 8. I haven't seen past it. So my views that I've been giving are from what I've seen. I don't know what's coming down the road, and I'm kind of glad because I went on a rant last week about like the fucking bullshit love story that's going on between the two of them. And literally in the first 5 minutes of this
keep
episode,
my mouth shut. Do you know how hard that is for me? I can't keep my mouth shut. Well, I'm normally drunk.
The first 5 minutes of the episode, and they're banging in a ball pit, and I was like, all right, fair enough. All right,
I love the banging in the ball.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I love more is that they use the Granny Sutra.
Mate, like,
I thought
and how
fantastic.
difficult that must actually be to have sex in a fucking ball pit. Like that can't, like, that, no, that's just illogical. Illogical.
Illogical. I love it.
But yeah.
I love the Band-Aid joke as well, because like whenever you go into a fucking ball pit, you get someone's Band-Aid.
Oh, scum!
No,
and you're like,
no, get it off me.
But the thing is, how long's that Band-Aid been there?
Oh, it's not worth. It's not a question worth asking, dude.
No,
it's not worth a question worth asking.
But obviously, and like I say, this episode frequently jumps back and forth, more so than other episodes. The flashbacks jump in more, and we then go into another flashback of Quiet, and we find out that this is what I was talking about, what they perceive to be like this get out of jail, do 4 years here, and we're going to get this amazing life. Oh, it's fucked up. So Quiet is a slave, essentially. She's a slave maid. Yeah. They're not allowed
Find
to
out
talk.
how she loses her finger.
Yeah. So, and yeah, her brother is a server at the fast food restaurant. And yeah, pretty much if you are unruly or you do anything perceived to be wrong in the eyes of your slave owner, we'll call them, the rich, the wealthy, they take body parts, fingers, ears,
and wearing those jewelry, kids.
Mate, when you see someone wearing an ear necklace, and like bearing in mind, my thoughts of ear necklaces are Dolph Lundgren from Universal Soldier, and they're the bollocks. But as a plot device in that film, they're great. As a plot device in this series, it's like, you bastards. And it's the embodiment of the fucking rich upper class wankers, you know, and how they've mistreated,
seeing people as just objects.
The woman who had her nose cut off, mate.
Abuse. Yeah,
she literally had her nose cut off. It was like, okay, you see fingers and that, and one of them's wearing fingers as fucking earrings. Quiet's owner has got a finger for an earring, and you're like, what the hell? And then the woman's got her nose cut off, like literally it just square cut off down her face. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
And I've got a big nose, so therefore
I mean that would make a whopping piece of fucking jewelry. That would. But yeah, it just goes to show
only
you.
A necklace. It would only be a necklace.
Just goes to like the gulf in like class structure is unbelievable. And it's almost like it's gone back to like a time long ago, where you not only are you a lower class citizen, you're not actually even human to these people. You are just a slave.
To the point where you see that they call out, don't they? They say, "Oh, there's a shooter."
Yes.
And you don't know anything about that, but it turns out that it's a slave who's got out with a gun.
Yeah,
and they've got
you promised
reapers.
me this. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? She says, doesn't she? She says the key words that I think kind of like resonate in Quiet and her brother said, because she says, "You lied to me. I've done my 4 years, and you fucking lied to me. You like this contract. It was all bullshit." And that's the first kind of thing where you're just like, this is going to dawn on them now. That they may have only been there for a couple of years or whatever. They're not getting out of
3 years. They were 3 years done.
They're not getting out of this situation.
No.
Like, not a fucking chance.
And I mean, you think that like they've literally got no qualm as well. I mean, you can turn around after 4 years and go, "Well, I've done my 4 years," but they could just go, "Oh, but you did this."
You're not getting out. Yeah, you're not getting out.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
you
bullshit.
are their property now, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the first time we get to see the Reapers. The Reapers actually are like they come and kill the dissenting slave. And it obviously seems like the Reapers are like a police force for the rich and you know, and wealthy.
We understand where they get their pink Cadillac, which we saw in the first
episode. Yeah, the pink Cadillac was obviously the Reaper's car. And like I say, it jumps, doesn't it, back from like flashback to, but it's all set in this burger joint. And then
how the buns stayed in service is madness to me.
Yeah,
by the way.
Obviously, they managed to find obviously the like electricity, keeping the freezers working. Like a number of years, it's very doubtful. But anyway, obviously we're just picking
faults because we
find out about obviously like not only did the electro issues that caused the fucking world to go haywire.
The lightning storm.
They obviously, yes. So we have a thing. They introduced us to a thing called a Watkins storm, which was to do with a nuclear reactor that went fucking haywire, to do with everything, and it caused electrical storms. And I mean,
colourful,
fucking yeah. But like deadly as fuck. Like deadly as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, we see our hero John Doe get struck by a bit of lightning, and he's got a severe burn. I mean, it hasn't killed him in respect.
Yeah.
So
we're saying bad, but it's not. He doesn't die, but it's still bad. But I feel that might come back as another plot device later on, because we're halfway in and now they've introduced him to us.
I think that's from the game. I can't 100% remember, but I think the Watkins storm is from the game. I think that like you'd get struck by lightning in the game, and it would affect your car.
Right,
that's why he gives a shit about getting Evelyn out of the way.
And he wants to hide Evelyn under like a carport area to protect from the lightning, which makes sense. But there's always
makes more sense in the coming episodes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. It definitely does. But all while this is going on as well, John is definitely becoming more attached to Quiet, and and Quiet has her she has reservations though, doesn't she?
She does.
Like,
she does.
I think she's more like she feels an obligation to her brother still, to avenge her brother. John's more like, no, you should let that shit go, which is kind of interesting because she was ready to let it go.
Yes,
she was very ready to let it go until, like, she heard in the last episode, wouldn't she? Until she heard Stone's voice come over the radio, and now it's kind of reinforced. I think since the altercation with Stone, she's definitely more wanting to like that passion to avenge her brother has come back.
Yes,
but yes.
Well, I think like when she was with John, she was willing to let it go and, take on a new life. But like when she heard Stone, she remembered everything that had happened to her brother. So
and then obviously I think the burger joint probably like re-engaged memories of everything 100%. As well. Because John then asks her, doesn't he? It's like, join me, come with me. Do this job with me. You can come to New San Francisco. I'm sure there'll be a place for you at New San Francisco. And she's very against it because she's like, no. Ultimately, I need to fuck up Stone. But
for obvious reasons, to be honest. I mean, at least what I will say about this episode, it gives you a lot of closure on like why she is like she is, the reason she's quiet. The reason that like she gives so much of a shit about her brother. I mean, they were close.
Oh yes.
They were close. I mean, not in a weird way.
Yeah, not in a Game of Thrones, Cersei, Jamie Lannister kind of way. Not that kind of way at all.
This was like he made her laugh. He was, he was the last bit of joy she had in her life.
Like,
and when he
would
was
have been very close age-wise as well. Looking at them, you would assume that they potentially even could have been twins. Like in that kind of sense.
I was about to say that, dude. Like there is an argument to be made that they were twins because they were so close in age.
Yeah.
And like their sensibilities were so similar.
Yep.
And
definitely.
he's a character. He was a character in himself. You see more about him in the last episode where. He's funny and little bunny, make me laugh.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. When they're in the freezer.
Yeah.
And he's going, please let me hear your voice.
Yeah, he just wants. But she's obviously that part of being a servant is you don't speak.
And it's killed her. And I honestly I thought that was more impactful than a lot of the rest of the season. I thought like, well, this is so impactful. Because you understand now why like she doesn't want to talk because obviously her master, and I say that like her master has beaten talking out of her to the point where she doesn't want to even hear her own voice. And like when he makes her laugh talking about that fart joke, I fart on my
My boss's lunch, and not like a little squeaker, like a big old fart.
And she laughs and yes, because who wouldn't do that for their family? If my sister didn't talk, I love my little sister, but if my sister didn't talk, I would do anything to make her laugh. Have you got a little sister, Irvin?
I'm the youngest. I've got an older brother, older sister.
So I've got a little sister. In fact, I've got 3 little sisters. But my little sister, the one that I'm closest to, Loz, I used to love to make her laugh. I used to love to hear her laugh. So I totally resonated with that. Because my sister didn't laugh anymore. I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah.
Because I used to, her laughter would make me feel better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So I totally resonated with it. I was like, oh, man, that must be heartbreaking. So, don't get me wrong, this is very much a comedy series. If you want.
Yeah, but it has its moments, doesn't it? There are definite moments in there that, like I say, there's moments of levity in it. Quite a lot of moments in levity, but there's also that the more darker side, the more gritty side, and there's a growth episode, right? It's a growth episode for both characters. More so Quiet than it is John, because John doesn't really evolve in this episode like Quiet does.
Not really, no.
And I feel like it's it's ultimately like you get to see like how Quiet and her brother, so like you say, Quiet and her brother are having a chat in the back, sort of having a chat. He's trying to get his sister to speak while at the back of the burger place, while it's on lockdown. The owner sees them. He's like, "What are you doing? You shouldn't be back here." And that's when her brother stands up for her because the owner puts hands on his sister.
That bit was full of fucking
and
stuff that I want to talk about.
And obviously that led to later on in the evening, because that was at the point where the gunman run past the burger joint. But later on that evening, the Reapers have come. The owner of the store is going to have the brother killed. Cuts the brother's ear off. He's like, as his souvenir, you see him put it on the necklace. The sick fuck. And then you see Quiet come in, kill the Reapers, kill the owner. And that's obviously.
I almost didn't remember about the brother's ear being cut off.
Yeah, well, he's got long hair, so you don't see it.
Yeah. But I do remember he had a big bulge. There, and I didn't think about it. But then when I saw the thing, I was like, "Oh shit, he did lose his ear."
Yeah, and so and pretty much there's a heart-to-heart moment as well between John and Quiet, where they're literally playing a game, like trying to throw something into a bin, which is an alien
mouth or alien mouth.
And it's literally they're playing a game. Like, if I make this throw, you answer a question, and they go, and that's how they get to know each other. Their bond grows in a sense. And
clearly they're attracted to each other.
Well, she realizes in that moment, doesn't she, that actually I could have a future with this man. Like, this man is he's honest, he's reliable, or she believes him to be reliable.
I mean, he's Captain America, let's be honest.
He's not my Captain America, he's a Falcon. So and also, if you're Captain America, mate, get down the gym, get 6-pack, wear fucking love handles. There's far too much stuff.
He is quite chunky. He is quite chunky for a captain. I won't look.
We're not fat shaming over here.
I'm a big fat man.
I'm a heavy set guy. My love handles, I think a family of 5 could hold on to my love handles. They're that big. But like Anthony Mackie, you got you want to hope that spandex is sucks it all in, mate.
Mate, I mean, Chris Evans, you ain't.
No, just think, when Chris Evans steps out of that contraption and he's just hulking man muscle, it's like Anthony Mackie's damn.
Every husband in the world went, I could look like that. I could look like that.
Yeah, just give me a staple gun, pull this behind here, staple it together. Yeah, all right, it's not going to work. But yeah, so and in the end, they go back to round 2 of Granny Sutra ball pit sex. And they decide, that they are gonna go off together. Quiet's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
go
gonna
with
try
John.
it. They're gonna, you know. To be fair, it's one of those episodes where like it had to happen, and I'm not
I was
talking
moaning
about
it all of episode 5. Like, this is
he
bullshit.
was so much. I love him so much for it, but like, and I had to hold my mouth so much because I was like, I could tell him now. I could tell him the next episode, but like I was like, no, because you sort of have to see it. You sort of have to let them have that growth.
Well, I felt after watching 5, I felt that this is just going to be an underlining current. This sexual tension will be up till like episode 9. I definitely wasn't expecting it, and I'm quite glad that it happened in 6 because it gets it out the way. There isn't that bullshit of like I say, the sexual tension there, which is always overplayed and dragged out in TV, movies, whatever. So I was quite glad it happened now.
Before we get on to an episode, I think it's worth pointing out something that you pointed out to both me and the executive producer of the show, that this show has done fucking gangbusters.
Oh yes, for Peacock. Yeah. It's what was it? The fastest
going
the most
binged.
It's the most binged show on Peacock. Like Peacock is probably, it's not a Netflix, obviously it's not a HBO, no. It's not a Prime, it's one of your lower, I would say, it's probably like one of your lesser subscribed services.
And teacher, I think me and you'll both be admitted that like we didn't have massive hopes for this show.
No, when they say it's a Peacock original, you're like, oh, it's Peacock, you know. It doesn't have the weight behind it, like I say, of a Netflix or a HBO. Like, you knew the money that was going behind The Last of Us with HBO, that this is the big boys come into play. Yeah. Always keep an open mind with everything, but there is always that, is this going to have the money behind it, like the cast and everything they've got, and we have to wait and see. But yeah, it's been the, let me just get up the article. Where was it quickly? I put it in that group.
Just while he's doing that, guys, I got to say that I was out of all three of us here at the opinions, I would have told you that, like, I don't know how you're going to make a show, and I think I said it on one of the podcasts.
You did.
I don't know how you're going to make a show out of Twisted Metal, because Twisted Metal is about a tournament between cars that just destroy each other, but they have done so much with it. I'll be honest, I actually really I've really enjoyed this series up until this point. I've not found any real massive faults with it, other than, you know, your typical TV bullshit.
Yeah.
Which you're gonna get anyway. It doesn't matter who you are, and like, you know, it doesn't really matter. Like, this has actually been entertaining from start to finish. I mean, we said it about the first episode when we watched that, and we said, like, to be honest, that first episode pretty good. You know, like, fucking got me in. I was interested. I wanted to know more about the story. So carry on, DJ. Now you got.
Oh no, I was just going to say it was. It's actually the most binged comedy premiere on the service. So not the most binged series, just comedy. No. So it's genre specific, but still. You know, it's still massive for it. And it still probably means it will get a second series. I would suggest.
I'd like to.
I don't know how it's finished yet. You do. Don't tell me. Like, no. We'll see. I think what we know from what I know up to 8. Depending on how 9 and 10 goes with something, I won't even ask you about it off thingy because I want to watch it. But there could be something there possibly. Yeah. But yeah, so like I say, we get into 7 now. Do you want to give us some info on that, Jay?
So 7 is just number 7 was called NUTH.
Nuthouse.
0 Nuthouse, exactly. And we get Sweet Tooth's story.
Yeah, it starts off. Now this is fucking savage.
Yes,
savage, but answers so many questions, doesn't it?
100%. Because you even get the name. You even get the understanding of where Sweet Tooth came from. So it
goes. I was just gonna say it goes right back, doesn't it? Into like well before anything happened. We're talking like in the 80s. And
now I mentioned the name M. Kane.
Yes, you did. Yes, and obviously, yeah, we're on a TV series set. Very much and there's a young lad and he's reading a script and he's moaning to his mum and dad, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't even see the name on the back of it because they were sitting in like the director chairs which have the names on the back of the stars.
That's a nod to video game people that know.
And I didn't
want to give too much away when I said M. Kane.
I didn't even pick up on the name that was on the back, to be honest. It was just one of those things that he just glanced past me and I didn't even notice. But yeah, he's moaning and it's hilarious, isn't it? Because you get an idea in your head. He turns around and says, "Oh, like they're calling the show Billy and Two Scoops."
Oh, and mate, Billy! I was convinced that Billy was somebody.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, "Oh, this Billy sounds like a right prick." Like, because this kid's like he's stealing all my lines, and he's become the star of the show. That like he's got more social media followers, and these mum and dad are a dick because Kane's mum and dad turned around and went, well, the reason Billy's got more is because he's the star of the show and he's funny.
He's funnier than you.
And obviously his stepdad's an absolute wanker because like he turns around and says about his dad, and the young boy goes, well, you're not my dad, you're my stepdad. And he's like, well, your dad's a prick and he's in prison and he's scumbag. And
to be honest, right, just to interject, because it's another it's another
from the game.
It's another what's the word, Easter egg for the show. MK, well, one of the Kanes in the first Twisted Metal game, there was a taxi driver who was named Kane, and that's meant to be Twisted
his
Metal's
dad, the Sweet Tooth's dad,
right? Yeah, Sweet Tooth's dad.
Yeah,
and that's why he's in the game, and that's why he's mentioned as you'd have been living in a taxi seat.
Yeah, because he's like, but he's a deadbeat and he's in prison and all this.
Yeah,
and then obviously they go to roll the episode. He goes out, living room, sitting with Granny. It's like a lot of American soaps filmed in front of a live television audience. He makes a joke about having a sweet tooth while eating what I assume to be M&Ms. No one laughs. It's not a particularly funny joke.
No, but like not for dead silence.
But it is like crickets, isn't it? It is crickets.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you know anything about American shows, they always put the fucking applause.
A laugh track.
Don't they? And they also have like a sign, like applause. If you're supposed to laugh, like fucking applause, or like laughter or whatever. And no one, everyone. And then all of a sudden, the toilet flushes and in walks Billy.
So where's Billy?
Billy's a Labrador.
He is a Labrador. He comes out. He's got a little bit of toilet roll on his foot,
which is hilarious.
That's an old joke. It's like
obviously,
the oldest joke.
Yeah, and like, obviously the dogs use the fucking toilet with his non-opposable thumbs.
But what you don't see then comes next, which is he grabs Nanny's knitting needles. Yeah. And stabs you don't see it, kids, because no one. No,
you see blood splatter, and you see the reaction, don't you, of people?
Yeah, and he is laughing, which sets up. Even if you didn't know that was Sweet Tooth, you can work it out. You can go, "Oh,
he's insane.
He's a psychopath.
He's insane.
A psychopath."
Yeah.
So he kills the dog, and he ends up obviously in a mental institute, but then we cut back to our heroes, John Doe and Quiet, and they're going, and we get a little bit of insight into the milkmen and about how they function.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, what they have to do is they've got to they get to New Chicago first and foremost. They get to New Chicago, and New Chicago is completely walled in. And they're like, how are we going to get into New Chicago? Like, they're expecting us, but they're not here. And then all of a sudden, a little elevator pings up. There's like a little shed with an elevator.
I forgot about that.
And they go in the elevator. And this is actually cool. And there's obviously, like, if you remember last week, like, Jay mentioned a lot of things. Well, I think it was actually in the first 2 episodes. It was in the first week. It wasn't last week. So before you'd watched past the first 2 episodes. You mentioned a lot about Calypso. Well, they go in this elevator. It goes down into this really creepy corridor. And there's all mist and fog and everything, and there's a voice that comes over the tunnel, and it's this creepy voice, and like it's a bit weird.
Are you Calypso?
And then they're like, "Are you Calypso?" And he's like, "Ah." Doesn't want to admit it, but he's Calypso. We know he's Calypso, and we also find out that John doesn't know what fucking pizza is.
Just to give you a little bit of backstory on Calypso. Calypso is the person that can grant all dreams, and I mean all dreams. So in the video game, you played the game in order to win the competition, so Calypso would give you your dream. So that's why Calypso is so important.
And you said he drove a tank, didn't you?
No, Calypso didn't drive a tank. His person who he had as the last boss would drive the tank.
Oh, okay.
I did say at the time, but I realised after it was my fault. Calypso is always like the organizer of the dream. You never saw Calypso. I think maybe in Twisted Metal 3 you saw Calypso. But like essentially the idea was that like he would send out his ultimate warriors to fight in this competition. So there's last two. It didn't work that way in the game, obviously, because you needed 8 cars to fight against each other. But in the last two, you would fight against this massive armored car, and it seemed impossible to win against. But when you won, Calypso would say, "What's your dream?" But he was very much like, do you remember the Leprechaun?
The movie Leprechaun.
Yeah,
the horror film. Yeah.
Where he would grant your wish, but it would be a twisted wish.
So more along the lines of Wishmaster with the djinn. You know, you make your wish, but then there's always like like something shitty is going to happen to you for that wish. To
give an example in the video game, and this is not giving anything away, a police officer said, Agent Stone, it wasn't Agent Stone, but a police officer said if you won with him, he would say, "I want a world with no crime." So Calypso sent him to space.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was always a twisted wish. So I'm very interested in to see how they're going to work this into, because if they go Wishmaster with it and Calypso gives their dream, but it's twisted, because we're playing Twisted Metal here.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, that would be an interesting way, but like we haven't seen magic yet.
No. We haven't, but like, there's no saying that he couldn't put a ship. He couldn't put with the destroyed world. Yeah. There's no saying that someone can go, "Well, I'll strap your car onto a rocket and send you into space."
They did it in Fast and Furious, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll cover Fast 9 in a fucking in a movie mystery. So you'll get my opinions on that then.
So yeah, they pretty much Calypso gives them the package, tells them to bugger off and get back to New San Francisco, and then because of everything that's led up to this point, John's like, "No, we need to take an alternate route back. We can't go the same way because of obviously."
Well, because he asks, doesn't he? He says, "Like when you're a milkman, we also get like something so that I need fuel. Yeah, because I've got to get back."
But obviously, he mentions, doesn't he? Obviously, the shitstorm that was Topeka. They know that they're going to be people looking for them, so they have to take this alternate route that actually happens to take them past a pit stop, which is obviously a hangout for milkmen to go and refuel, get food, get showered, sleep. And so they go to a place called it's actually called the Nut House, isn't it? Is the name of the bar.
Yeah.
And where we meet Bloody Mary.
There is some characters there, right? There are some characters. Well, there's a lot of
Mr. Slam is my favourite character.
Oh, mate. He's a character. He's a character interesting.
Oh, is he? But we'll get to him in a minute because he's got a very, very special talent. Very, very special talent. But yeah, we meet Bloody Mary, who it turns out used to not ride with John. Essentially, she used to frolic with John.
Yeah.
And
an ex, if you will.
Yes, and it's still like, obviously you can definitely get the sense that she like still harbours feelings for John the way she is. I don't think she quite likes the fact that Quiet is kind of replaced her in essence
although she gives mixed feelings, doesn't she? She defends her a couple of times. It's very mixed.
She's a bit fucking psychotic, to be honest.
100%. I fancied her immediately.
But while this is going on, we get to see a little bit of Stone before we get to see a little bit of Sweet Tooth. We find out that like Stone is obviously trying to track down John and Quiet, but over the radio you hear that Sweet Tooth has attacked the Colorado base as well as the Utah base, killing everyone and taking their prisoners to form his new militia, if you will.
Yeah. Good word, dude.
Yeah, I know. I've read my thesaurus.
Almost like you're used to this.
and then, and obviously Stone's a little bit like, aggravated by this news, to say the least.
He is somewhat perturbed.
Yes, and then
you can all read a thesaurus.
and then we move on to Tooth actually seeing Sweet Tooth, and Sweet Tooth has taken his followers to Blackfield Asylum, which we find out is the asylum where he was housed after the Billy incident. Well, he went to prison. He went to juvie, didn't he? And then he moved up. He moved up the ladder.
His way up the asylum,
up the nut job ladder, into Blackfield. So I keep wanting to call it Blackwater, but it's not. It's Blackfield.
It's not Black. It's Blackfield.
It's Blackfield Asylum. And he, and you're like, oh, interesting. And obviously, we find out some other bit in a bit, but then we obviously this episode's a very much jumpy around episode, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is a very jumpy episode. And
there's
a lot goes on in this episode.
Whereas the others have flashbacks, this is jumping from like different groups
area
of people.
to area.
Yeah, because obviously it then jumps back, doesn't it, back to the Nut House. Where obviously, like we say, he meets. We meet characters like Stu, Pit Viper, and John does give two very, very poignant rules, doesn't he, to Quiet?
He does.
One of them is you never ever tell anyone what your job is, what job you're doing, like what milkman delivery you're doing, and two, no weapons, like none. And that becomes pivotal later on. And like I say, Mary has a way, doesn't she, of like getting little snippets of information, but also throwing in little snippets of information. Caused I look at it as in like she's just trying to sow seeds of doubt, because she mentions to thing like, oh yeah, he loves that car, he'll never let you drive that car, and that car, he'll choose the car over you and everything and all this. And
he loves Evelyn.
You're just thinking at this moment, you're thinking, well, you're just a fucking bitch, like Mary, like just because you don't have him anymore and she has him. Quiet's very open-minded. She's like, I don't give a shit, she's your ex, I don't fucking care, like whatever.
I love that attitude when she goes,
it's fucking great.
Your ass is on my clothes. Yeah. So
well, when she's in the shower and then we goes like, I'd kill for areolas like that. I'm just sitting there like, that's a line only a girl can get away with to another girl.
100%.
If a man said that to her, you're a creepy bastard.
I said that once, got slapped.
Fucking, we got slapped with a restraining order. But yeah. So like Mary's just, I felt just kind of sow seeds of doubt in Quiet's mind, but Quiet's having none of it. Quiet's I really like Quiet as a character.
I think Quiet earns her stripes. Though,
yes.
she earns her stripes.
Yeah. But then once again we're jumping backwards and forth, and it goes back to Blackfield, and
we find out what happened to Sweet Tooth's parents, don't we?
Yeah, he takes Stu on a
tour,
trip down memory lane, shall we say?
Yes, shall we say that? That's the best way to describe it.
And memory lane, and then fucking to go and meet Sweet Tooth's parents. Like, I mean, if there's one, like he comes out, doesn't he? And he says like, oh, when the shit hit the fan and I got out of Blackfield, I want to say water again, Blackfield Asylum, I went and found my parents and then brought them back here to see the hellhole they left me in, because they never come to visit me, and then just left them there to starve to death. Yeah. And it was like, wow.
Did it not solidify how good Sweet Tooth is as of a character, though? Yeah. I mean, I know he's insane. I know that, and like, there's no doubt in my mind he would kill me in an instant. But like, I don't know. every single scene that I see him in, I respect him more for. I'm like, he might be mad, but like, I don't know, man. Like, as a person, like, fucking, if you've got his back and he's got your back, it seems like I'm set for life.
Yeah.
It seems like he's gonna, like, he'll back me up no matter what fucking goes on.
Well, like, you can see it in Stu, can't you? Stu's
Yeah.
like wrestling with the idea of like, this guy's a fucking nut job and I should get away from him. But also there's protection in being with him.
Oh,
And like,
100%.
I feel safe around, maybe not safe around him, but like, he's not going to hurt me. It's a weird kind of position Stu's in. And when you see him lose 100%. It and he stamps on his parents' skeletons, like, and absolutely fucking loses it, and you're like, and then goes from that 1 minute of going mental and literally crushing his stepdad's skull under his boot, to then going, and calm, and you're like, fucker's crazy.
It's like, well, like he's crazy, but he's only crazy about X amount of things.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, you know, all right, he's killing people, but he's killing people that wronged him in his head. So like, it's crazy. It's crazy to sympathize with a maniac.
Yeah,
but they do it so well in this story.
But I feel like you get the same vibes with Heath Ledger's Joker in Batman, right?
Yes, 100%.
Like, it's
that's exactly the vibes I got from it.
That's the best like comparison I can give. You actually felt empathy towards Heath Ledger, and you were like, I understand you. I get you, even though you're a crazy psychotic lunatic. I understand what you're trying to achieve, and kind of like, in a weirdest possible fucking way.
It's the same with Thanos. When you watched Infinity War, you was like, overpopulation is the biggest problem here. I'm saying I will end it.
I will be the bad guy.
End half all of existence.
But he understood where Thanos doesn't get he's like, if I need to, I will be the bad guy. You can hate me forever. I don't care what I am doing for.
But the world will continue.
It will continue, and it will thrive.
Yes.
This is a necessary evil that has to take place. And you're like,
and you can almost empathize with it. You can almost go like, okay, it's bad, but I'm not doing it.
No.
So if I'm one of, I mean, you could almost argue that, like, turned into dust, I didn't know, and I don't know, and I never knew.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the people that are left behind, that's the hard part in it. It's the ones that are left behind. It's always the ones that are left behind, Jay.
Of course, mate, of course. I mean, it's honestly, and this is going to sound bad to some people, it's my argument about suicide, where I go like, but it's only the people that are left behind that suffer. You know,
it's the selfishness because you're not feeling about the people. Yeah,
exactly. And look, dudes, guys, I'm not saying 100%. I don't want you to commit suicide, but it is a quick time answer to a short term problem. Right? I'm not saying that I understand your issue.
Well, it's a permanent answer
I'm not
for the
going,
person, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a permanent solution to a short time problem. Like, seek help. Don't suffer on your own.
100%.
Like, honestly, because, like, guys, giving up is giving up. Once you give up and you're willing to go to that extreme, like, it sounds horrible. It does sound horrible. I am not being unsympathetic, because I've had suicidal thoughts. A lot of people do, but you are giving up on everybody. It's not just you. Think about what your family will go through, your friends, your family, because they will search for the answer until the end of time. They will never understand what you went through. It doesn't matter whether you leave a note, whether you think you've explained it properly. They will always question what they could have done. It is so horrible to go through that if you find help, and I mean really find help, not going to Dave down the road who thinks he's got it all sorted out. I mean, poor Dave. I blame Dave so much. But like, you honestly go to the suicide helpline, talk to people. Don't believe that this is the end of the road for you. Like, I do mean this when I say this, and I say it with conviction because I honestly believe that there is an answer for you. There is a way out, and it's not the ultimate way out. So I know it's a bit of a downer in the middle of the episode, but I just want people to understand that suicide is not the answer. Kids, you talk to me, talk to TJ, right? Do find another solution, because we're here. I'm not going to say that me or TJ have the answers, but we will point you in the direction that you can get to, that you can find a solution. You know, find our email below, find my my TikTok, my Instagram, TJ's fucking Twitch, TikTok, and fucking X,
Twitter.
Thank you. You know, and just message us, because we won't let you suffer alone. So just don't believe it's the end. And I don't want to interrupt the podcast to do this, but I do very much believe in suicide prevention. So do ask for everyone's help, your family, everyone's help. Don't just give up, because a lot of people give up, and there's a way out. There's always a way out. So, TJ, what was you on about? Sorry, mate, I got a little bit carried away.
Yeah.
I just it worries me
fine.
about people.
Yeah. Okay, right. Going back into Twisted Metal. So with Sweet Tooth, his parents, he's just destroyed.
Oh, he's just off them.
They're already dead. He's just smashed their skeletons. And then they go back outside. He left his followers, his militia, in the courtyard, eating their jam sandwiches. And as they go back,
I wrote notes about this. Actually,
this was hilarious because Stu and Sweet Tooth walk back into the courtyard.
What is the guy in the Harold or something?
So obviously all of his followers are dead on the floor, like bullet holes in the head. Now, as we said in the first episode, his friend or second episode is a paper bag called Harold. We don't know what's in the paper bag.
He leaves him with a gun.
Like, yeah, he leaves it, and he says, "Harold, why have you killed everyone?" A brown paper bag, like not big little paper bag that you put your lunch in that you give to your child to go to school. In America, it's more of an American thing than a UK thing. But it's like, Harold, why have you killed everyone? Legitimately thinking a brown paper bag has picked up a gun and capped everyone in the head. Like, and what we see is there's a guard tower, and in the guard tower is Mike, Stone, and a couple of other of Stone's goons with a sniper rifle, obviously taking them out. And Stu, they've got Sweet Tooth Stu in their sights. Stu saves Sweet Tooth, or dives on Sweet Tooth as a bullet is fired. And Stone's tells Mike, right, clean up, double tap everyone, and I've got to go and find out about where John and Quiet are, or the mute.
He's obsessed.
What does he call them? The milkman and the mute is what he calls them, isn't he?
Milkman and the mute.
He's like, I've got to find out where they are, because he wants some payback. And then it goes back to the nut house, the bar, the pit stop place. Yep. John's had a little bit too much to drink, and while he's filling up his car. Very weird scene where he's like, I mean, every man has had this. I don't know if women react the same, but where you're messing around with water, or you've got running water and you hear running water, you get the urge to need to go for a wee. So yeah, he's filling his car up with fuel. He goes for a wee. She steps up next to him, drops a cack, starts having a piss on the floor next to him, which I found very, very weird. But anyway, and in a drunken state, John happens to let slip that this job is going to be his last job, and he's going to get everything he ever wanted, which she knows from being with him in the past means that he's going to get inside.
He's gonna leave the game behind and get the life.
Which is what because they make it clear several times throughout the series that a milkman has an early expiry date, meaning that they don't live a fruitful life.
They're called milkmen because they've got an expiry date.
Yes, exactly. And she realizes that, hang on a minute, she's a bit stupid here, actually, because she's like,
she is a bit stupid.
She realizes that, well, hang on, if I deliver that shit, maybe I can get inside. So she goes in the bar and tells every single person what John's plan is, and it's like, why would you do that? Because then everyone wants it. Whereas you could have maybe like snuck and killed John and Quiet, was my thought. Yeah. Like, you've now told everyone, so like, what's the end game here? You've just turned.
By the way, that weird pizza boy, he's another character.
I felt he might be in the big red puffer jacket.
Yeah.
But
when he's punching him, and he's going,
"What's in this jacket?" Yeah. It's so. Mr. Slam, we mentioned Mr. Slam earlier. They're in the bar, and Mr. Slam has his unique talent. And what this unique talent is, that he has got the biggest, fattest cock I've ever seen in my life, and he can smash stuff with his cock. Namely, watermelons.
It's massive. It's massive. Kids.
If you were a female,
it would be too much. It would be too much.
Like,
no joking, girls. I mean, you may think you can take something, but Jesus Christ, this man, you see him whip it around before he's gonna fucking drop it, and he destroys a wall. It's massive.
Two hands legitimately to hold it round the shaft. It's that fucking ginormous.
It's massive. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point.
So, but while he's smashing the watermelon, Mary tells everyone. Quiet realizes what's going on, and then that's when John comes out with the things like, "Well, you fucking idiot! Like, you've told everyone now. Everyone's going to want this. So now everyone wants a piece of it. Who's going to get it?" And it's an all-out scrap, pretty much, in the bar.
It's a good fight, actually.
It's a good fight scene. Like, Quiet and John, quite in tandem, work well together, keeping hold of the package, throwing it from one to the other. People are smashing each other up. I was hoping to see a dong to the face.
I'll be honest, I was hoping the same thing.
But unfortunately,
even if it was plastic, I was like,
no, we didn't get a dong. We just saw the one and done with the watermelon. So fair enough. At least we got to see that.
He survives, by the way. I'm not going to deny he survives. I'm thankful.
He hides behind the bar, man.
He does, but he survives.
But he does
Which
survive.
means that if we get a season 2, then maybe we get to see him pop up again.
But
literally.
and as inevitably you kind of guess would happen, Quiet and Mary are one-on-one. And Quiet comes out on top and kills Mary, and Mary giggles at the end, which kind of is fitting.
I don't think she's dead.
Axe to the chest is really difficult to come back from.
It is, but I don't think she's dead.
Doesn't push it in. Now, going back to Thanos. Yeah, Thor had a little bit of an issue here. Didn't push it in far enough. Didn't quite kill him, did it? And what was it he said? What was it? Do you remember what Thanos said to Thor?
You should have went further ahead.
Exactly. And there is one thing that blinds with that is obviously the top she was wearing, she obviously was hiding her blade in there, wasn't she? Her butterfly knife. Although that wasn't like, she can't say that it hit the butterfly knife and that's what stopped it. But because that was it was in her hand, she tried killing Quiet with it. But there is a possibility that what she's wearing, the like corsety type thing, could have maybe stopped it going too deep. You know, like you always see a bullet that hits a Bible or a bullet that hits the hip flask or whatever that, you know. So maybe, but at this moment in time, we believe her to be brown bread.
Yes. But I will say that I tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Bloody Mary is a character within Twisted Metal.
When she announced herself as Mary, I was just like, oh, okay. But then when she was given an actual like proper name, like Bloody Mary, it's like, yeah, this is a character from the actual game. It's got to be. Yeah.
Bloody Mary is a character in Twisted Metal, and that's why I think, I don't think she's dead. I think there's something extra.
And she's the kind of character that you kind of feel has more to grow in the story.
Well, she's also explained herself a few times as like, I've got away from death a couple of times.
Yes, there was. Yeah, she took on 7 Reapers or something, didn't she? She's like, as what was it? As Mr. Slam said that she's like the most prominent milkman in the bar.
Yeah.
Like she's done the most dangerous jobs, and and that she somehow comes out of stuff all the time. But so yeah, maybe she's not dead.
No, I mean, like she'd make for a good rival of John in the future should something occur, right?
And we go back then to Blackfield.
Yes.
Mike is going around making sure everyone's dead with another one of the goons. Stu, he pursues Stu to be dead, but it's jam on his forehead, not a bullet hole.
Well, he does portray some emotion.
Yes, he runs over to Stu, doesn't he, and grabs him and cries. But what we got to remember is Stu also saved him from Sweet Tooth, didn't he? When Sweet Tooth went through the dam, and was killing everyone. He helped Mike hide essentially in a sense from Sweet Tooth.
With the Mike and Ike's line.
With the Mike and Ike's,
and Mike pissed himself.
That's right. Yeah, bless him. Bless him. But yeah, he's still alive. Stu's still alive. He gets up and they have a little back and forth. And then you just hear gurgling as Sweet Tooth is wringing the neck and of the other guard. And then he comes over and grabs Mike and is strangling Mike. And Stu, the voice of reason, turns around and says, No. We can use him. He can help us get Stone. And then the immortal lines of, well, if you want a pet, you can have a pet, but he's yours to look after. And I was like, here we go.
See, that also rings true with the video game because Mike and Stu they're a group that run Monster Truck.
Right, yeah.
So that's why
keeps them together.
Like, oh, okay.
Keeps them together. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Killing one off would seem a little bit. Yeah.
So I will say, guys, at this point, I mean, you might say, "Oh, it doesn't really follow the game," but it is actually following the game in a lot of ways.
There are ties, quite a lot of ties. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who have played it, obviously I haven't, so I'm taking all those cues from Jay. And the episode pretty much ends. John and Quiet leave the bar, and the one person who wasn't involved in the fight, who we didn't notice was involved, was Pit Viper.
Pit Viper is another video game character.
Kind of figuring out when they've got a name that sounds like it's you're in the video game, right?
Yeah.
Well, she actually has a direct link with Stone and texts Stone and tells Stone exactly where they're headed, that they're heading to New San Francisco, and Stone goes on a little thing about catching trout in a barrel and how the fun is setting the trap pretty much.
You're going to enjoy the next couple of episodes.
And that was the end of 7. So it's moving along quite nicely. Like I say,
and you must be surprised because you thought it was going to end at New Chicago.
They kind of just got there, didn't they? Like 500, they had in episode 5 they had 530 miles, and they're now there. And you're like, oh, okay, they're there. They had a little stop off for a shag in a burger joint, and then they got there. So you're like, oh, okay, but okay, there's no filler shit. Thankfully, there was no filler in that 530 miles, which was nice.
No, because I mean, at least we were expecting. All right, they're driving. So
I'm now expecting them to get back to New San Francisco, and we're going to see some more Neve Campbell. That's what I'm expecting.
Fantastic. You've got to expect that because
they've got past the halfway point.
Campbell's story to be finished.
Yes, exactly. Whereas I thought it could drag on into season 2. But I mean, bearing in mind, I did say we've got to see Reapers, we've got to see Holy Men. We haven't really seen Reapers. I don't know if Reapers are going to be that big a plot device because we've done 7. We've got
Reapers become like your bog standard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That they become the bog standards. Like we can throw these into anything because they're in anything.
Yeah,
and then next episode we get a little bit more, don't we?
Well, yeah, because what I was going to say is we still had the Holy Man faction to come in, which obviously plays into episode 8.
Yeah. Now, episode 8 is called, can't even read my own writing, EU3.
It's Evelyn.
It's Evelyn. It's Evelyn. That's right. So, this is very much about the car and how the car comes into being.
Well, we haven't had John like this.
We haven't had any
episode 8.
John backstory.
We've had Stone's backstory. We've had Sweet Tooth's backstory. We've had Quiet's backstory. In episode 8, like John doesn't know who he is, and we technically don't know who John is.
No,
and that's where this episode, and even this episode doesn't flush out who John is. Does
not
it?
Really.
It flushes out who Evelyn, who the car is.
Yes. This is very focused on who the car is.
Yeah.
Now, we learn in this. All right, let's just keep it on track.
Yeah.
Let's keep it on track.
Well, it flashes back, doesn't it? It starts with him being a child.
Yeah.
He's driving
He's
some
crashed in a Volvo.
Yeah, this old fucking station wagon thing. There's it's another time that we see what they call a Watkins storm is coming. And this woman bops him on the head with a log and fucking like gets.
After trying to convince him, I mean, this is a child.
Yeah, he's what 11. He's got to be about 11, I would say maximum.
Yeah, maybe 11.
And he's obviously she's asking him questions. He's like, I ain't got a clue. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything.
He's got an egg on the side of his head,
which she then hits with a fucking log. The bitch makes it even worse, and the noise is bonk. It's like, oh mate, just like he's got fucking like major brain trauma,
he's
and you
already
smack him on the head
anyway. All you got to do is push him over.
Yeah. But yeah, she steals his car, and she like just fucks off with the car, leaving him to deal with this storm.
I suppose like I almost understand his argument, which is like I found this car defended me in that weird pseudo way that like I'm a child, I found it gave me warmth, it gave me everything. And then when he needed to be defended, it defended him. And
you're talking about when he stumbled across Evelyn.
Yeah.
I found it very, very interesting because obviously, Evelyn's a car that's covered in branches and whatnot. Mm-hmm. He stumbles across it while this storm's going. Well, no. He survives the storm, doesn't he? And then he's looking for warmth. He's trying to start a fire, but he can't start a fire. He didn't watch enough Bear Grylls, obviously. And
Bear Grylls said, "Say piss in your mouth, you'll be fine."
And he finds, he stumbles across Evelyn, and there's a corpse in the car. Someone's obviously died in that car, which didn't like. I imagine that person must have been heavily injured because there was food and supplies in the car. And then he finds money, and like to me and you, it'd be like, "Oh, wicked! He finds money." Yeah, he uses it as fucking like to light his fire, doesn't he? Which I was like, "That's quality."
But it's very Fallout.
Yeah.
Do you ever play Fallout?
I haven't, but I know exactly what you mean.
So like you find pre-war money in Fallout, and so
they were $100 bills, man.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter when there's nothing to buy.
Yeah.
So like,
what else are you going to use
paper?
It for? Yeah, exactly. And obviously, so and this is Evelyn doesn't start. That's a key point as well. When Evelyn he tries to start, Evelyn doesn't start. But but this car's got what he wants. It's shelter. It's got food. It's going to help him survive essentially.
But when we cut back to present, Evelyn gets stolen.
Well, it's really interesting because obviously we said in the last episode, Mary tries turning Quiet. She's like, "Oh, he loves the car. He'll never let you drive the car." But at the very end of the last episode, he says to Quiet, "You drive. I'm too drunk." And she's like, "Oh, fucking hell!" Like you can see it in her face. He's asked me to drive the car.
Yeah.
So she's driving the car, finds his picture, which is the only remnant he's got.
Yeah, it's his last family remnant.
Because like he doesn't even know who the fucking kid is, does he? Like when he looks at the picture, he's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like it's himself, obviously. And she's fucking about with it, and it flies out the window. So while they're looking,
she says as well, he goes, "Don't lose that picture."
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, won't, I won't," and inevitably it flies out the fucking window. Like of course it does. And then while they're looking for the picture, some holy men steal Evelyn.
Which is like you see it in his face. I mean, kudos to Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
kudos, because like you feel every emotion he went through in that motion. You see that he's like, I am distressed. Like, fuck the photo. Evelyn has been my everything.
Yeah.
Since a kid. And like before they even explained it to me in the episode, I was like, "Oh, I get it. This car defended him. This car was everything to him. Not just it was mom and dad to the kid."
Yeah.
So I totally understand. When he reacted that way, I was like, "Oh no, she doesn't understand, but I understand." That was everything to him.
Yeah.
That car was everything.
Yeah.
Like it's like losing a parent to him.
Well, it's why
So,
he was like, it's so no, we must get it back. I must get it back. Even when she's like, oh, you know, we can go off and find another car. He's like, no. We need to break into their camp. We need to get it back.
We've got to get that car back. So like I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I understand a plot story when I say a plot story, but like I was like, oh no, I get it. I get, and it's set up that way so that you, the audience, you get it.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just talking about a car. This is a car that has looked after him. This is a car that has defended him. This is a car that has done everything for him. I mean, I didn't even need to watch that episode to know from the way he reacted to the car. I was like, oh, this car has been with him since he was a child.
Yeah.
This car is, you know, he's been in this car for 20 years. You know, so you know, and don't get me wrong, I understand that, like, you can't sell the story on, like, oh, she gets it immediately.
Yeah.
It's just a simple case of, like, well, obviously he's in love with this car. This is the car that, like, it's not in love. It's like, this car loved me. I will love it back.
Yeah.
I will give it everything.
The car is his family.
Yeah.
In essence.
Exactly. So, like, to lose it would be
like losing a parent.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally understood why you reacted the way you reacted.
But,
you know,
at this point, well, I was just say, at this point, it's like they have a goal, though, don't they? He know, like, it's like we get the car back. It's like, because he even does admit, I've lost the car before. Like, even makes a joke about it, doesn't he? Like, I've even forgot where I parked it before, you know, so, and I lost it that way. So it's like, as much as it is, like you say, it's devastating to him, he kind of is like, I will get it back. There's that hope for him.
Evelyn always comes back to me.
Yes.
Always.
And so they sneak their way into the Holy Man camp, and the Holy Man camp is not what I kind of expect. Well, it isn't. It's like a bunch of hooded.
It's debauchery. It's debauchery in its purest form.
It's like a biker gang, because they're all in, like, you know, the biker denim jackets, you know, with the patches on, but they've got these.
I saw the patches and I was like, okay.
Well, they've got all the hoods and everything, and then you see the women there, and because they're all men and they're all like fighting, and they're doing that casual thing. It's like, oh, I challenge you to a clash, and they have a scrap, and I've got you one.
Great, I love that. I love that so much.
All getting fucking pissed out of their nut, doing coke and everything, and then, but
the JD and coke is amazing.
Yeah,
what's this?
Like, that gives them,
I think that's the coke.
Well, yeah, it's so then they come, like, all the females there are all dominatrix who are like worshipped. Yeah. And yes, like, they give John and Quiet a cup of JD and Coke, and it's like, okay, JD and Coke, but no, the Coke is Coke. Coke. This is the this isn't the Coca plant. This is the actual Coke.
Why is there something lump in it? That's the Coke.
That's the Coke. And like they're like, oh fuck. And then we meet their enigmatic leader, the preacher, who is such a great character. The actor.
Right. Oh. I love him anyway. I love him anyway.
Yes, 100%.
He does so many voice lines for things that I just fucking admire. And he's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine alumni.
Yes, yeah, he is. He's quality. I'm just gonna get
his name. What's his name?
I'm just gonna get his name up. Actually, I should have had this before. Oh no, I'm fucking getting his fandom there.
I rely on you, this TJ.
It's played by. Oh, give me his fucking name.
I should know his name because I love him so much.
Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, Jason Mantzoukas, and he's honestly in anything he's in, he plays his character so fucking well.
So He was in John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Ralph, he's done a lot of voice stuff. Lives in the Lego Batman movie.
Does loads. He does loads of voice stuff. He's incredible.
TV stuff wise, recently, Twisted Metal, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. It's in some Star Trek stuff. Has done some Robot Chicken stuff. Obviously, like you say, he was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mate, he's so incredible. I got nothing but respect for that man. Nothing. But respect.
He's hilarious. He plays a very, very similar character in a lot of his stuff, isn't he? He's like
he does.
Crazy nutter, like off his head.
So he plays it so fucking well.
Oh, he's crazy. He's crazy as fuck. and like, so obviously he asks for. So he comes in. He's the preacher. He's the leader. He's the guy they all worship. And what we don't realise is this actual get-together is like an annual thing they do. And do you remember what it was called,
Oh,
Jay?
you're vamping teacher.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll figure. So he turns around and says, like, welcome everyone. Oh, this is our annual. It's the Rocky Mountain Fuck Fest. This is like, I mean, you know, it's that's kind of an interesting outing that I'd like to go to be honest. But so, and for putting on this shindig, he wants, like, give me gifts, which people are bringing him guns, cocaine, other kind of drugs, petrol, fuel, essentially. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of like, this is what you always give me. This is fucking kind of boring, think outside the box, get me something. And then in steps Evelyn. Someone drives Evelyn in. And he sees Evelyn. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is for me. And obviously, John and Quiet are there. They're watching this all unfold. He see Evelyn. He's like, oh, fucking hell, that's my car. And it turns out that the preacher is actually going to have sex with Evelyn. He makes a very interesting quote about lubing up her muffler and going at her muffler.
What have I walked into?
The preacher wanting to have sex with Evelyn.
Oh, yes. Oh, mate.
And then John steps forward. Now, John's a bit brazen. He's just down God knows how many ounces of coke. So he's a bit brazen, and he comes in and is like, no, you cannot do that. And he's like, oh, you want to challenge me?
You want to go for a muffler first?
Yeah, you want to go for a muffler first? And he turns around and says, oh, I challenge you to a clash. John's like, yes. I can fucking have this geezer. Little does he know this geezer's like fucking some taekwondo capoeira, like straight out fucking like crazy flip, like bebop fucking street dance.
You clearly didn't play a lot of Tekken back in your day.
No, it was like, it's like, do you know, he like moved like effortlessly, like a monkey, didn't he? Bouncing around like
capoeira.
It was. I know what capoeira. Yeah, capoeira is obviously Brazilian dance fighting. Obviously, when they weren't allowed to fight years and years ago, like it was non-contact. They come up with capoeira, didn't it?
You know more about fighting than I do. You watch.
Yeah,
UFC,
I know exactly what capoeira. Like I say, I know exactly what capoeira is. I know the origins of capoeira. But like capoeira technically is non-contact. Capoeira is like Brazilian dance fighting. But yeah, he's very much like he kicks the shit out of John essentially.
Oh mate, 100%.
John even tries the dirty fucking underhand tactic of grabbing a handful of dirt, throwing it his eye.
I loved it. It's the wrestling tactic.
I mean, he got some good body shots and it was a solid fucking uppercut. I will give him that. Like the preacher went flying. 100%. But the preacher then, absolutely destroyed him.
That's what I love about that character, though. He gets up and he's got that smile where you're like,
he asked him if he's possessed.
Now.
Didn't he? He turns around and says, what was it? He turned around and said, are you possessed? And he was, I was once by a baby demon who sent me to a church and I killed everyone. And you're like, what the fuck? It's like,
mate, that's enough for me to go, all right, I'm out.
When he turns around and said, I was possessed by a baby demon, you were like, a baby demon? What the fuck? Like,
honestly, he's such a good actor. I not just blow him too much, but like, fucking hell. Whenever I watch him, I'm like, you are the epitome of madness.
Yeah.
You are the epitome, like, because if everyone acted like he did, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm done. Mate, I'm not winning this fight. I'm out. He won't stop.
In real life, he's probably the most subtle, subdued person you'll ever meet. 100%. Do you know what I mean? It's like the polar opposite.
If I ever get to be in a film with him, I've got to go and talk to him and go, mate, You are so good. You are so good. Like I'm fucking envious of how good you are. Like whenever you listen to him, he's spot on with the voice that you want to hear.
Yeah.
Like he is so fucking good. I know I'm having a sort of a wet man, a man wet dream over him.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I love him so much. And when I saw him in this, I was like, oh mate, I'm so happy he's in it.
Yeah, it's a good role.
I've watched him, mate. I've watched him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
And he's just fantastic. Like, you know, you're terrified of him and you love him at the same time.
Well, he's a crazy fucking nutter police detective, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is. And he goes, there was one time and these 4 people just beat the shit out of me, but I loved it. And you're like, I believe him. Yeah. I shouldn't. He's an actor, but I believe him.
Yeah. So once John's had the shit kicked out of him, we get another little flashback where John gets approached by some seemingly random guy. And he's like, and this guy's like, oh, well, I can help you, and everything. And John throws a tire iron at him, smacks him in the head. And then when the bloke's like, he's like, oh, sorry. Then he say, like, I was aiming for your balls.
Yeah.
He was like, you hit him in the head. It's a terrible shot, mate. It's a terrible shot. But then the guy turns around, oh, it's okay, don't worry. Fucking, I'm going to eat you pretty much, doesn't he? He's like, the kid's alone, come on. And we should have really worked it out because he's wearing chef gear, isn't he? He's wearing like the white chef's coat and that. And obviously, they're cannibals that are going to look to turn this kid into soup. And he manages to get, and once again Evelyn saves him because he gets Evelyn started, and Evelyn gets him away. So that's twice now in a very short space of time when he was a child that Evelyn has saved his life. Once she saved him by giving him shelter, by giving him sustenance in like food and warmth and everything, and now she saved him by getting him out of the clutches of these cannibals. So you know, you can see how the bond formed. Yeah, and grows very strong, very quickly. Yeah. Like Evelyn is his survival. Evelyn's his mother in a sense, actually. Yeah. I said parent. It's his mum. Evelyn's the replacement of his mum, essentially.
And we see it earlier in the film. Yeah. We see it earlier in the series when Stu's trying to push it and Evelyn bumps him on the face because I've really got to get that boot sorted. Yeah. You know,
and it's like when someone tries to start, Quiet tries to start the car that she can't start it. It's a special way to start it. Only I can start it. Like, it's my car. I've got this bond with this car. I know this car. This car is like, you know, it's my family essentially. Yeah. And so, go on. No, you go.
No, carry on.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where I was going to go now.
I was going to say, and obviously then we come back, and obviously John's chained up. He's in a he's in like a little makeshift prison cell, and Quiet comes along. She's managed to off one of the. Well,
she tried to convince someone as a dominatrix.
I can't remember what they called them, but they had a name for them, didn't they?
Goddesses.
That's it, goddesses. And she manages to. Like when she fights, while John is fighting the preacher, she fights one of these guys because she makes the mistake of saying, "Oh, I want you to bring that car over for me." And he's like, "Oh, but Goddesses only rides shotgun." So she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to fuck you up then." So they have a scrap. She does the whole lock stock thing with Vinnie Jones. We'll reference back to that where she slams his head in the door. Vinnie Jones several times. Brutal way to die. And then obviously, like I say, she goes and rescues John, gets him out. It's just like, I've got a car. It's not anything great, but it'll get us out of it. And we can go and get the package because they stashed the package earlier. It's like, and we can get out. And John's like, no, I can't leave Evelyn. And she turned around and she makes a plea to like, you know, it's a car. Like, you know, you're going to risk that car's going to get you killed essentially. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, come on, this is our way out. Yeah. She doesn't understand like how deeply this bond between a piece of metal and this human run.
Which a lot of people don't.
No, you wouldn't.
You're attached to something.
Well, literally, other than a few like waifs and strays, we'll call them, that John's had through his life, she's the ever-present. Evelyn's the ever-present.
Yes, she is.
And so Quiet.
It's very much a man thing, isn't it? Don't you think? It's like where you get attached to a piece of machinery in a way that you can't explain.
I suppose, Are men in general more materialistic? Probably,
Yes, we are.
I would say so.
I'm not saying like, a machine means more. It's just
No.
that, like, look,
we put more emphasis on things that, like, inanimate things, essentially.
Yes, yes.
Because you do, don't you? Like, I expect, like, with cars and stuff, people have got, like...
Cars, definitely. Cars are
100%. You might have, like, some kind of, like, I don't know, an old Scott, like Buick Skylark from back in the day, very American, like a, and you put your heart and soul into restoring it and whatnot. It's very much a man thing to kind of like.
I'm not trying to be sexist, kids. I'm sure there's women who do the same.
It's I don't know, something in the makeup. It's a more male dominated trait, let's say.
Yes. Yes.
It's
the correct word.
It's but yeah, so obviously. Quite.
So I get attached to certain machinery that, like, I love, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to, just like, I've put so much work into it. I don't want it to go. Do you know what I mean?
That machinery is like that's for the 18+ podcast, Jade. That's a different podcast that you want to have a chat. But no, fuck's sake, always goes back to that way, doesn't it? Always goes back to it. But no, so Quiet decides that like that's it. John's like, she's gonna have to leave him because John's never gonna leave this car. So Quiet leaves.
Yeah.
She's upset. Obviously, she leaves. She thought, there was a future with John, essentially, but the future is John and Evelyn.
Yeah.
And so John makes one last play to get his car back with the preacher. Which leads to another scrap. A bullet. The preacher has a gun. Now, okay, so the preacher fires a gun, which puts a bullet in the fuel tank, and fuel leaks everywhere. How the fuck did that car not explode then and there at that moment?
I don't know.
When a bullet went into the fuel tank. But
this is movie magic. Movie magic.
So there's fuel pissing out everywhere. There's open fires. While they're tussling, they knock over like a standing torch that's alight. Obviously, fuel and fire don't mix. Ba-boom. Massive explosion. We see Quiet in the background. She sees a massive explosion. She instantly thinks, oh, that's it, John's dead. She starts crying. She obviously had feelings.
She's affected.
It definitely affected her. She's lost her brother. Now she's lost John. And you just see her go off. But luckily, somehow, our hero John, I mean, we know how he survived because he's the titular character. Like, Evelyn has saved him. Her bonnet saved him. Evelyn is no more. Literally, every part of Evelyn has blown off.
Dead.
Doors, bonnet, boot, fucking wheels, everything's fallen off. And Evelyn is no more. The preacher's no more as well. The preacher's in about 7 pieces. The rest of the holy men fuck off and just leave John there. They think he's dead, but he's not. And they just leave him there to stew in the fact that this car is
it's over. The game's over. And
they have and I tell you what, this bit is it's so cheesy, but it's so well done, so fucking well done, because My Immortal by Evanescence, which is a great song, plays. It's a brilliant fucking song. Like,
it's almost correct.
I have a problem with it. I do have a problem with it. Because although it's a great song, it is also used in one of the worst films ever. It is like the song that plays in Daredevil.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to say that.
And it's like Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
If he's called Batfleck, what is it? Bendevil? I don't know what his fucking name is. Anyway, it's in like Daredevil with Ben Affleck and I've forgotten the woman's name, Jennifer Garner, and it's like the music playing is it's a great song, but obviously you see John going around, he's picking up parts of Evelyn, and while this is happening, it's flashing back to where he takes Evelyn to a scrapyard and manages to find parts to get Evelyn back to get Evelyn running properly, essentially. And it's
Yeah.
kind of there's a juxtaposition of old, like him building Evelyn into what she is, to now Evelyn being destroyed, and he's just literally finding parts. There's that poignant moment with the number plates where he's going through, no, I don't like that number plate, I don't like, and that's where he settles on the name Evelyn for the car.
It's such a nice moment, though.
Such a nice moment, but then it ends with a pile of scrap and the Evelyn number plate just like bent and burnt and damaged, just sitting on top of the pile. And John's just sitting there, downbeat, downcast, like literally at this point, where episode 8, we've got 2 to go. You're like, he's done. He's literally done.
He's finished. His energy's gone. He's lost everything. All he's got left is the package.
Quiet's got. Well, he doesn't even have the package. They stashed the package.
No, he doesn't
now
have the
you
package.
would imagine if Quiet believes that he's dead, she's going to collect that package and drive it to New San Francisco. So,
of course you will.
Like that's what you would assume. Where it's going to go in that, and that is where it closes in episode 8. Where leaving John literally with nothing, like. And to be honest,
he's beaten. He's beaten, mate.
He's a browbeaten man. He's like everything that was good in his life, essentially, within the space of 10 minutes is gone. Quiet, his car, his future, all gone.
His dreams ended that day.
Dreams, aspirations, everything. His chance at redemption, a future, like a life, essentially, they're done. They're gone. And it's a really poignant moment, how it, like you say, how it ends.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting where Nine goes.
Almost feels like, yes, that's the correct song. But it's almost too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's well placed. It's well placed. Like I would say they have got the soundtrack for this largely on point, I think, for most of it. And,
very 90s.
And
very 90s.
Well, it would be, because obviously, if the world ended in 2002, essentially, there's no recording studios left.
No,
so the
exactly,
music you have is up to that point.
So talking about our other podcaster mate, like, you know, he was very, very against it but like essentially, it's 90s because it's 90s.
Yeah, that's the era that the world ended. So like nothing new is going to be created from that point, essentially. Like they're stuck in that, like, you know, everything in terms of like technology and that is done. So nothing new's being invented. You know, it is what it is. These are the cards you're dealt. You don't have any like all your nostalgic stuff is that era and before. Yeah. And probably a lot of it isn't gonna work that's pre a certain time either, you know?
Yeah. But like, you know, you can't be against something that's stuck in its own time.
No.
You know, because at least they keep to it. It's not like
fits.
You're gonna hear something. Yeah, it does. It does.
It fits.
And to be honest, and I will argue this, for a TV show that has taken a game that meant nothing. I mean, nothing. Like, Twisted Metal was a tournament game about cars versus cars, right? And they have turned it into a TV show that I give a shit about. You know, is it the best TV show in the world? No, of course not. But, like, it is a TV show that I'm intrigued to watch every week.
Yeah.
If it was a weekly show, I'd be intrigued to watch every week.
Yeah, I get you. I get you, man. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but they've turned it into something that, like, I didn't. TJ, when we talked about this on the other show years ago at this point, but like, you know, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that, like, I thought I was intrigued. I would be intrigued by a story. In fact, we spoke about it on a podcast, going, I don't know what they're going to do other than like a Mad Max situation.
Yeah. I like I say, there was always that, like, there was intrigue, wasn't there? And I kind of think when you knew the cast, you knew the way they were going with it. Like when it first got announced, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you say, is this Mad Max Fury Road type scenario? But then when they announced cast of like Will Arnett, Stephanie Beatrice, Anthony Mackie, you're like, not known for their serious stuff. Which, like I say, with Will Arnett, I think fucking could do anything. Like,
mate,
I have no issues
so
with that guy.
Will Arnett,
like I say, I think would be like a brilliant Riddler type character.
100%.
I
mean, he played Batman in the Batman Lego movie, which is a fantastic movie, kids, if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I may insist that me and TJ watch it and talk over it, because that film is so fucking good.
I'm happy. But yeah, so it's like, it's definitely well done. We've got 2 episodes left. It's going to be interesting to see. You know when 9 picks up, I don't, so it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I don't
want to say.
don't tell you anything. I'm not going to ask, because I'm honestly,
mate, simply because it's too good for me to ruin it for you.
I kind of hope. I'm like thinking about where it goes, and how John picks himself up from where he is, and there's about a million different ways it can go, but I don't know if any of them would work. So I'm really, really intrigued, and like we'll see what happens. I kind of have a feeling we might see.
For me, I'm not giving anything away here, but for me, it picks up the most perfect way it can do.
Well, I have in my
head
only
because I know the game.
Okay, well, don't say anything to me, but I kind of have a feeling that, like, I was thinking to myself, are we going to see like Sweet Tooth and that? Like he meets them again potentially. The convoy, are we going to see any members? Because. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued where it's going to go.
The TV show has done a lot of setup for a lot of things. So much so that, like, I'm glad you can't predict how it's going to go, because that is the correct way.
Yeah.
Because when I went into the next episode, I couldn't have predicted how it was going to go. And I think they've done fantastically in doing that. And I love Deadpool anyway, but the Deadpool people have taken this show from here to up here. You know, they have seen the ending and gone, look, everyone's expecting something. So how can we go from here, which is, you know, your general run of the mill story, to Twisted Metal, which is what they've done. So next week, everyone, kids, will be a great discussion, because TJ's going to see the end. I already know the end. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to ruin.
We need to be transparent and open and honest here.
Oh yes.
So obviously this will be, for us, it's Saturday. Well, it's the early hours of Sunday morning right now. But this will get released on Monday the 14th. This episode, we do normally film on a Saturday. However, we've got a big thing happening this coming weekend on the 19th. A group of people from my community, my Twitch community, including Jay, we're all meeting up in a city near you. Not going to say where, so you can't come and hunt us down and moan at us for terrible podcasts. But yeah, we're meeting. There's a large group of us that are meeting for the first time in Cambridge. Strangers meeting from the internet are all meeting each other. What could go wrong? No.
I'm going to murder all of them. He doesn't know
quality, yet. Great, amazing. So there will be no pod next week. We will be back the following week, which will be the 26th, I believe.
We've got a big announcement as
26,
well.
27, 25th.
So,
roughly.
How do we say this, TJ?
Well,
we've got a big announcement for
we've got a big announcement for the pod, which we won't go into too much detail. We'll just leave it at that there. But yeah, we will cover episode 9 and 10. We'll do the entertainment news, everything that we normally do, and then we have an announcement that it's big news for the podcast. So and that's really all we can say at this point.
Not a lot is going to change for you, the listeners, but like it's going to be
epic, and that's all we're going to say.
Yeah. TJ has to shut me down because
Yes.
I'm too much of a spoiler.
Yeah, I'm just like careful. No, so yeah, we will obviously no pod next week, but the following week there will be. It will drop next week on the 28th. And the only reason I know that date is because the Alien DLC goes live on the 29th. So yeah, on the Tuesday.
So we'll be the
podcast.
But
Which is Bank Holiday Monday.
Look
so
forward to
Bank
it.
Holiday Monday if you're in the UK.
We've got a lot of big drops for that day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes and a lot of things that me and TJ are going to drop for you.
Shush. Just shush now.
Dude, I got to give him a little bit of hype.
No, you don't.
We're not giving him. I'm not going to give you any more than that, but we've got a lot of things going on. So do show up.
Yeah.
Do be here for us. You want to call us cunts? Hello. That's fine.
once again, feel free to call him that. Be kind.
I don't mind
be
being
kind to
called
me.
cunt.
Be kind to me.
No, TJ needs it. His sensuous fucking attitude needs it.
Wow. I'm the glue that holds this thing together.
He is the glue. I joke around, but my co-host here, he actually puts all the show together, and I've got nothing but love for him because he's incredible. And the show wouldn't be half the show that it is without him. So I'm going to give him a little bit of love. Just going to give him a big head, and I'm going to have to deal with it next weekend. So
yeah, when you meet me, it's going to be even worse.
I know that, dude. I know that.
But
anyway, guys. So I don't think we've got any more else to cover.
No. Like I say, this pod will drop on the 14th, Monday the 14th, and the next pod will be dropping on Bank Holiday Monday if you're in the UK, which is Monday the 28th.
But do come listen to us.
There will be some.
You can find
some shorts as well that will drop as well in between then.
Where can they find you, Teach?
I will be on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday is actually the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so we'll be playing that live on stream from 8 PM on Friday, the 18th.
Who
that
knows?
is.
I might join him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because me and TJ, I gotta say, mate, we've got good banter on yours.
Yes.
On your Twitch, we got such good banter.
We do.
Anyway, much love, kids.
Where can they find you,
See
Jay?
you later. Well, they can find me wherever you hunt me down. But I'm on Twitter, kids.
Yes.
You can find me.
It is
Firefly0 on a lot of things.
It is Twitter, not X.
Sadly,
it's not X. It's not. We don't believe in X. It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
How to ruin the greatest marketing ever by calling it X, you pillock. Right. Anyway.
Much love, kiddies.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make